Look sharp, feel sharp, be sharp. Use Gillette Blue Blades with the sharpest edges ever honed. Gillette's Cavalcade of Sports is on the air. From Braves Field in Boston, Massachusetts, Gillette presents the second game of the 1948 World Series. This is Jim Britt with Mel Allen saying good afternoon for the Gillette Safety Razor Company as the Cleveland Indians and Boston Braves warm up. Gillette is your radio host at leading sports events the year around. Over various networks, Gillette's Cavalcade of Sports airs attractions of national interest as they occur from time to time. Every Friday night, Gillette also broadcasts the major boxing match of the week, blow by blow, for fans coast to coast. Weather-wise, today comes more nearly to the forecast of yesterday. It's gray, cloudy, overcast, cool, with a threat of rain. Not the perfect baseball day that attended yesterday's opener. Yesterday, as history has already recorded, the Boston Braves won a 1-0 shutout, thanks to the superb pitching of right-hander John Sain, the Belleville, Arkansas ace, and the timely eighth-inning single of Tommy Holmes. Bob Feller was great, too, but he was luckless. He became the first pitcher since the Cardinals' Mort Cooper to throw a two-hitter in World Series competition and lose. Yes, and the controversy kicked up by two features of yesterday's opener lasted far, far into the night. At Hotel Somerset, press headquarters in Boston, the experts were divided on the tactics employed by manager Lou Boudreau in the eighth inning when, with a runner on second, one out, he ordered Feller to give second baseman Eddie Stanky an intentional pass. The reason was obvious enough. With pitcher John Sain scheduled to follow Stanky to the plate, Boudreau had a double play in mind. That, the professional baseball men nearly all agreed, was the smartest possible move at the time. The odds with Feller pitching favored a hard double play ground ball. But, the scribes and commentators countered, many of them at least, yesterday's game, over the first 7.5 innings of play, had produced so few ground balls that the Braves, with only 3 assists all afternoon long, tied a major league mark. Both Feller's and Sain's pitches were being hit into the air, either on a line or via the pop-up route. Moreover, a fair share of the experts argued, Stanky had played very little since his ankle fracture in early July. He is slower now than he was then as a result of the mishap, and Feller had had no trouble whatever retiring him the 2 previous times on a pop-up and a grounder back to the mound. The dissenters argued that it was a tactical mistake to walk Stanky, a fact which in this instance at least Holmes' subsequent game-winning hit seemed to prove. But the vast majority of the experts, the professional baseball men, as noted before, agreed that had they been required to make the decision, they would have ordered Feller to pass Stanky as Boudreau did. The thing that kicked up a lot of post-game comment was a set of 4 pictures which a photographer snapped at the very split fraction of a second that Feller and Boudreau attempted to pick Phil Macy off second base. You may have seen them. That it was as close a play as a modern World Series game has produced, there was and can be no doubt. Umpire Bill Stewart unhesitatingly called Macy safe. He later scored the winning run. The pictures, in the judgment of some observers, including some of the Cleveland official family, showed that Boudreau seemed to have tagged Macy high on the arm close to the time when his right hand touched second base. President Will Harridge naturally refused to be drawn into an argument. Beyond a terse, officially, Macy was safe. The American League head refused to debate the point. The consensus was, as it should be, that umpire Stewart was alert on the play. He was standing about 10 feet from second base, on the baseline between second and first at the time, and his decision was emphatic, unmistakable, and unhesitating. Moreover, President Bill Veeck and manager Lou Boudreau sportingly accepted the decision without complaint, although those of you who were following Mel Allen's and Gillette's description of the play at the time will recall that Lou protested briefly but emphatically at the time. The fact that that one play was the main subject of the postmortems that followed the game is proof, if you need proof, of the fact that yesterday's opener was close, hard-fought every single pitch of the way. The Indians were very sporting and unstinting in their praise of Sain's curveball. Joe Gordon, the great second baseman, admitted that he hadn't seen such a well-controlled variety of curveballs in the American League this season. One amusing post-game incident you may enjoy hearing One reporter queried Sane on the 3 pitches with which he struck out outfielder Walt Judnick to end the game. Was the last one a curveball, the scribe asked. Yeah, it was, John replied. Well, what was the second pitch, the reporter asked, the one Judnick almost fell down on after missing? Look, said Sane, the word'll get around soon enough what I'm throwing. Let's let the Cleveland players find out for themselves. Probably no World Series in recent seasons has been witnessed by so many old-timers. A while ago, Tris Speaker and Fred Clarke were posing for pictures. As noted yesterday, as many of the world's championship Braves of 1914 as could make the trip came to Boston as guests of the 1948 Braves management. And last night, after Sane's shutout, Bill James, who pitched a 1-0 game against the A's for the Miracle Braves of 1914, was swarmed over by members of the press who were interested in knowing how the 2 shutouts compared. Bill seemed to enjoy reliving some part of the glory of the 34-year-old past. He's a great old-timer. Now, here are the official batting orders for the second game of the World Series. For the Cleveland Indians, in left field, Dale Mitchell. Right field, Allie Clarke. Shortstop, Lou Boudreau. Second base, Joe Gordon. Third base, Ken Keltner. Center field, Larry Doby. First base, Eddie Robinson. The catcher, Jim Hegan. The pitcher, right-hander Bob Lemon, who had 10 shutouts throughout the regular season's play and a record of 20 victories, 14 defeats. For the Boston Braves, Holmes, right field. Dark at shortstop. Torgeson, first base. Elliott, third base. Rickert, left field. Salkeld, Bill Salkeld, the catcher. Mike McCormick, center field. Eddie Stanky, second base. A left-hander on the mound, Warren Spahn, with a record of 15 victories, 12 defeats, and a record of 3 shutouts during the last season's play. Any hint that Boudreau and his Indians might be discouraged as a result of Feller's defeat yesterday would be misleading. They saw a pennant slip almost from their grasp last Sunday when Hal Newhouser and the Detroit Tigers beat Feller. Following that, they had to endure a long train ride to Boston, and there before a hostile crowd, in a park in which they had played only 11 of their 154 previous games, they staged a superb comeback to win the flag going away. This Cleveland club is in no sense on trial. The 1948 Indians and their brilliant young skipper have already proved their right to greatness. That they can come back, no one, not even Billy Southworth, has the slightest doubt. But when you get right down to cases, such one-sided pre-game odds as prevailed in this series were somewhat ridiculous. It recalls to mind what John McGraw once said when he was about to send his great New York Giants against an underrated American League club. They won their championship, didn't they? Said John. Well, they must be good. Today, the umpiring dispositions will be changed. The plate umpire will be an American leaguer, Bill Summers. The first base umpire will be National League arbiter Bill Stewart. The second base umpire will be American leaguer Bill Grieve. The third base umpire will be George Barr of the National League staff, who was yesterday's umpire-in-chief. And the foul line umpires, who take their positions about 20 feet from the right and left field stands, will be Babe Pinelli down on the left field line and Joe Paparella down on the right field line. And as I said that, the 6 umpires began to come out. One of them went over to exchange greetings with a friend. The field has been cleared of all scribes, commentators, photographers, newsreel men by orders of the commissioner for some 25 minutes, and overhead The broken skies are beginning to set the stage for a little sunlight. We did have just a slight downpour of rain a while back, but it was of no great consequence. Incidentally, Warren Spahn had his picture taken, and some of the baseball men, compare his style to that of the great late Herb Pennock. He has a sneaky fastball, a good curveball. He claims he does not throw a screwball, all reports to the contrary notwithstanding, and he has an excellent slow curveball. Bob Lemon has, in addition to a variety of curveballs and a good change of pace, a very good fastball. He has pitched recently unsuccessfully in an effort to notch his 21st victory, but in his first 20-game season, he has been mightily impressive. And his performance this year recalls to mind what Jim Hegan, the Cleveland catcher, told me last winter. He said, keep an eye on Lemon because he is certain to be the most effective of the Cleveland pitchers. At that time, Jim had no idea, of course, that Gene Bearden would have been cut adrift by the New York Yankees to become the great southpaw that he was this last season. The playing field condition here at Braves Field, notwithstanding the fact that 1 or 2 football games have been played on it during the past couple of months, is in excellent condition. The umpires now are going to their positions, and very shortly, Baron Hugo's band, which has been entertaining here at Braves Field, will set the stage for the national anthem. Down at home plate, Bill Summers is being given a supply of baseballs by the Braves ball boy, Tommy Ferguson. The Indians, as you know, had a contest to select a bat boy, and the youngster is one of the proudest kids you can possibly imagine. The idea of having a right field foul line umpire and a left field foul line umpire is one of the best baseball has had in modern times. It brings to mind a situation that occurred in several major league parks this year when home runs were ruled fair or foul, and then later on, the dispute kicked up rather a row. The Braves are going out to the field. Warren Spahn, who wears the number 21, the same number worn by Bob Lemon, goes out to the mound, and here is the national anthem. And now, ladies and gentlemen, with the second game of the 1948 World Series about to get underway, here is my colleague who will describe for you the first 4.5 innings of play, Mel Allen of New York.
And before we get underway, ladies and gentlemen, hello everybody, we pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
For the World Series and other top sporting events the year round, keep tuned to 710. This is WOR, New York.
The broadcast, ladies and gentlemen, comes to you by the authority of the Commissioner of Baseball and is intended only for the private use of our audience. Any publication or reproduction of this program is prohibited. It's going to be the left-hander, Warren Spahn, going for the Boston Braves today in an effort to capture the Braves' second consecutive win over the Cleveland Indians. Warren Spahn, a 27-year-old, boy from Buffalo, who's won 15 games during the regular season. A boy who has quite an assortment of stuff. Got a good fastball. He's got a nice roundhouse curve. Those of you who may have seen Jack Kramer pitch for the Boston Red Sox, for example, we might tell you that Spahn's curveball is, well, he's the left-handed counterpart of a Jack Kramer, who's a right-hand pitcher. Sort of a roundhouse curve that he comes in there with beautifully. He was a 20-game winner last year, named after a president. He's all set to go now. Warren Spahn is trying to win this one for his youngster, just born some 6 days ago, Gregory D. Stepping into hitting position now for the Cleveland Indians is Dale Mitchell, a left-hand hitter. 0 for 4 in yesterday's game. One of the leading hitters in the American League during the course of the regular season. Mitchell had an average of .335. And so we're all set to go, and Warren Spahn, the left-hander, is into the windup. Here's the first pitch of the ball game. Mitchell takes it, and it's outside for ball 1. You've got Bill Summers umpiring back of the plate, Bill Stewart of the National League umpiring at first base, Billy Grieve of the American League umpiring at second, and George Barr of the National League umpiring at third. The left-hander Warren Spahn again sets, throws. Mitchell swings and fouls it off right up here. Almost hit us. As a matter of fact, it almost got Jimmy Britt. I'm glad it didn't, because I don't feel like going 9 today, Jim, but I would. So the count is 1 ball, 1 strike on Dale Mitchell. Bob Elliott, Braves third baseman, laying in close on the grass, about 4 or 5 feet off the line in the event of a bunt. Warren Spahn delivers an overhand fastball swung on, popped up in the air, foul, back up third. There's Elliott racing over near the stands. He's under it and makes the catch. 1 away as Dale Mitchell fouled out to Bob Elliott, who had to go a long way from the foul line all the way over to the field boxes to the left of the Braves dugout. So with 1 down, up to the plate steps Allie Clarke. Clarke's a right-hand batter. A boy from New Jersey, around Perth Amboy, South Amboy. Making his first appearance in this World Series. He played in the World Series last year briefly. Here's the pitch. Swung on and missed. A wicked hook that had Allie Clarke fooled. That ball hit the dirt. A beautiful curveball. The outfield's around toward left. Clarke was in the World Series last year in a Yankee uniform. Now the pitch. And it's very high for a ball. The count is evened up at 1-1. The Braves have Marvin Rickert in left field, Mike McCormick in center, Tommy Holmes in right. The outfield's way around toward left. They play Clarke to pull. Allie stands in close to the plate. Feet spread slightly. Bat cocked up off his right shoulder. Here's the pitch. He takes strike 2 call, the curve over the inside corner, about belt high. Third baseman Bob Elliott is laying very close to that third base line. Shortstop Al Dark in a couple of steps over toward the gap. Spahn delivers. Clarke swings and misses. Strike 3. Fastball. Allie Clarke went down swinging. It was a fastball. Looked to be about letter high. From our perch high above Braves Field, just slightly to the left of home plate. And now Lou Boudreau, who went hitless in yesterday's game, but on the season hit .355, runner-up to Ted Williams in the American League for the batting crown. Right-hand hitter crouches. Here's the pitch. Lou takes very high for a ball. Half-speed ball. Bill McKechnie is coaching at third for the Indians. Mel Harder coaching at first base. Eddie Stanky, second baseman, is the step on the grass in the outfield. Here's the pitch. Swung on by Lou. Little roller. Hit slowly down toward third. It's charged by Elliott. Is up with it. Throws to first. In time for the out on a nice play. It took a good play by Bob Elliott to take that slow roller and toss Lou out just by a step at first base. No runs, no hits, no errors, and nobody left on, and the Indians failed to score. And the score at the end of the first half of the first inning, 0-0. Down through the years, baseball has undergone many refinements, as you fans know. Yes, sir, and that's equally true of the Gillette Blue Blade, which today has the sharpest, easiest shaving edges ever produced. Men, this blade is made to the closest limits of accuracy known in the industry, so it fits your Gillette razor precisely. The edges line up absolutely parallel with the razor guard and extend just the right distance for smooth, comfortable shaving. Thus, you avoid the harsh, irritating effect of misfit blades and faulty shaving methods. For the slickest shaves of your life, buy Gillette Blue Blades, 5 for a quarter. Or for extra convenience at no extra cost, get 20 of them in the handy new Gillette Blade Dispenser for 98 cents. Look sharp, feel sharp, be sharp. Use Gillette Blue Blades with the sharpest edges ever honed. Coming into the last half of the first inning, that round of applause you just heard was for Tommy Holmes, who will be leading off for the Braves, the man who got the second hit off of Bobby Feller yesterday and drove in the lone run of the ball game. So Tommy steps up, left-hand hitter, and it's Bob Lemon, a right-hander, on the hill for the Cleveland Indians. A 20-game winner, the first man in the American League to win 20 games this year. 10 shutouts and a no-hitter among his victories. So Bob Lemon has the Cleveland hopes on his strong right arm today. He delivers. Tommy Holmes takes strike one called. Lemon has good fastball, good curve. He's got a sinker, too, that baffles the hitters when it's working properly. Tommy Holmes awaits the delivery. The outfield is shading him slightly toward left, in center and left, straightaway and right, the big hole in right center. Here's your pitch. Holmes takes strike two. It's called. Fastball. It came right down the middle, about knee-high. Holmes, who hit .325 on the season, had 1 out of 4 yesterday. He and Marv Rickert had the only hits off Bob Feller, who lost a tough ball game. Johnny Sane, who allowed 4 hits, won a very good ball game. Now Bob Lemon delivers. Pitch is swung on, little tap back to the mound on one hop. Bob takes it, throws over to first base to Eddie Robinson in time for the out, and there's one away. Holmes bounces out, pitcher to first. Lemon to Eddie Robinson. And now coming to bat is Alvin Dark. Dark, a right-hand hitter. Hit .322 on the season. A lad who went to LSU. Folks down in Baton Rouge mighty proud of him. Now the pitch. The right-hand batter swings, sends a ground ball out to second baseman Joe Gordon, who boots it, picks it up, fires to first. He's safe. He's safe. Bill Stewart called him safe. And now Joe Gordon comes walking over to protest the decision slightly. So does Lou Boudreau. And it probably is a matter of Eddie Robinson having his foot off the bag rather than the throw being late. However, that's supposition on our part. From here, the Indians, all in front of their dugout, are getting on Billy Stewart at first base. It's an error on the play, of course. And an error charged to Joe Gordon, which would indicate, of course, that the throw arrived too late and Joe originally had bobbled the ball. So that brings to the plate now Earl Torgeson, left-hand hitter. Stretched by Bob Lemon, checks his runner, Al Dark. Here's the pitch. Swung on and missed, strike one, as Torgeson took a good roundhouse swing. Al Dark on first base. Good fast man. Bob Lemon gets his sign, takes his stretch, checks his runner. There's an easy lob over to first base. Dark back in plenty of time. The Indians have Mitchell in left, Doby in center, Clarke in right. And now time's been called for a moment. Bill Summers takes off his mask and walks over toward the Cleveland dugout and points at someone, evidently telling them to quieten down. The Indians are on the warpath today. All right, Lemon ready. There's a quick throw to first base. Dark back in time. Not even a tag by Robbie. Ed Robinson returns the ball to Bob Lemon. There's Mitchell in left, Doby in center, Clarke in right, Keltner third, Boudreau short, Gordon second, Robinson first, Hegan catching, Lemon pitching. Earl Torgeson, left-hand hitter, the batter. The stretch by Lemon. The pitch swung on, lined out to right field for a base hit. There's Al Dark rounding second on his way to third. The ball fielded by Clarke. Whips his throw into second. Dark holds at third. It's a single for Torgeson. Earl Torgeson, who hit .251 on the season and who was hitless yesterday, lined a single to right field between first and second to send Al Dark to third. And thus the Indians find themselves on the defensive once again, with the Braves having runners on first and third 1 out, and the batter, the cleanup man, Bob Elliott, who hit .283 on the year, who was hitless yesterday, right-hand hitter. Dark on third. Torgerson leading off first. The outfield around toward left. The infield shaded around toward third. The stretch by Bob Lemon, the pitch, and it's outside, ball 1. Lou Boudreau laying in about halfway short. Joe Gordon in halfway at second, in potential double play position if the opportunity should present itself. Freddie Fitzsimmons, of past World Series fame through the years, coaching at first base for the Braves. Billy Southworth at third. The stretch by Lemon as he checks his runners. Here's the pitch. Elliott takes high, ball 2. There's activity. Activity in the Indians' bullpen. We can't quite see who's warming up. It's behind the fence out there in deep center. But there's somebody warming up for Cleveland. Runners on first and third, 1 out. Now the pitch. Elliott swings and lines one over Boudreau's head to left field for a base hit. Coming in to score is Dark. The ball fielded by Mitchell. Holding second is Torgerson, and the Braves lead 1-0. Bob Elliott hit a soft fly ball to left field. Credited with a run batted in. As he scored Dark from third, situation set up by Joe Gordon's error, followed by successive singles on the part of Earl Torgerson and Bob Elliott. Stepping up to the plate now is Marv Rickert, who got the first hit yesterday off Bob Feller. Marv Rickert, left-hand hitter. You got Torgerson on second, Elliott on first. 1 down. Here's the pitch, and it's in there for a called strike. Bob Lemon got behind Elliott and had to come in with something a little better than he normally would have liked to have offered up. Lemon ready, checks his runners. Here's the pitch, and it's low outside. Ball 1, 1-1. Lemon taking his time. Outfield playing Rickert just about straight away. 1 run in, last half of the first inning, 1-0 Braves. Runners on first and second. The pitch swung on and missed for strike 2. As Rickert took a terrific cut at that ball. Marv steps out of the batter's box for a moment, gets a little dirt in his hands, moves back into hitting position. Left-hand hitter, slightly open stance, holds that bat down the end of the handle. Bob Lemon ready. Torgerson leads off second, Elliott off first. The pitch, and it's just outside for ball 2. 2-2 the count. That was almost a beautiful pitch by Bob Lemon. Just did miss that outside corner. Billy Southworth slaps his hands, coaching at third base, hollers words of encouragement up there to Rickert. Bob Lemon standing sideways on the mound, looks in, gets his sign. Torgerson moves off second, Elliott off first. There's an attempted pickoff play, and the runner is out at second base. They picked him off. They picked him off at second base on a beautiful pickoff play, Lemon to Boudreau. And the play which almost succeeded yesterday, that did not succeed and which cost the Indians the ball game, worked here. As Boudreau sneaked in behind Earl Torgerson, who took a big lead off second. And on the count, as the sign was put on, Boudreau and Lemon start a count. Bob whirled around and fired that ball to Lou, and you could see from here that he was going to be out if the throw was good. And they got him. So Torgerson is picked off, Lemon to Boudreau. And that eases the situation somewhat for Bob Lemon. And now they're 2 down, and Bob Elliott on first. The stretch by Bob. Here's the pitch, swung on and missed by Marv Rickert for strike 3. And so for the Boston Braves in the last half of an exciting first inning, they got 1 run, 2 hits, 1 Cleveland error, which of course proved to be most costly, and 1 man left on base. Rickert strikes out. Torgerson was picked off. Bob Lemon to Lou Boudreau. And now the score at the end of 1 inning of play. Braves 1, Indians nothing. And there's quite a rhubarb going on, ladies and gentlemen, to a degree, between the Indians and the umpires. Bill Summers just hollered over to the Cleveland dugout again. The Indians are on Bill Stewart, umpiring at first base today. Bill called the play at second base yesterday in the attempted pickoff of Phil Macy. The play in which Stewart called Macy safe, and a moment later, Macy scored the lone run of the game. And now there's Bill Summers going down to talk to George Barr. As Barr comes up from third base, they're discussing something or other, I don't know exactly what. But you can take it as the gospel. The men in blue call him as his theme. And by and large, they do a tremendous job. Without them, you couldn't have baseball the way it's played. They call them, they're right on top of those plays. And they do a tremendous job. There are times, of course, when you think perhaps that they haven't called them just the way you've seen them. But now, just a moment, Bill Summers has called Billy Southworth and Lou Boudreau out of their respective dugouts to home plate to discuss some matter, evidently concerning ground rules. That's supposition on our part. Bill Summers is pointing to something out in the direction of left field underneath the scoreboard. Babe Pinelli, who is an alternate umpire and who is stationed down the left field foul line, called attention to the umpires about the fact that there are some photographers on top of the fence. Now we see them. There are 3 photographers, or 2, underneath the scoreboard. There's an opening underneath the tremendous scoreboard here and the top of the fence, and they were in that opening taking pictures from a point in left center field, and they have been ordered out of there. Of course, it's entirely possible that a drive could hit them and drop back onto the playing field, perhaps, instead of going on through. So these umpires, as we were just telling you, are really on the ball, and they don't miss a trick, and they do the best possible job you can expect of them. After all, it's only human to err, and occasionally they may. All right, it's Joe Gordon leading off, top of the second. Warren Spahn throws. Joe Gordon swings and rams one foul on the ground down the left field line. Strike one. And Babe Pinelli gets a hand. The alternate umpire stationed deep down the left field line as he caught the ball. Joe Gordon, right-hand hitter. One strike on him. Warren Spahn into the windup. Here's the pitch. Gordon takes low inside for the ball. And the count is even up now, 1-1. Joe Gordon, who hit .279 on the season, yesterday had 1 out of 4. Spahn delivers. Gordon swings and hits one on the ground out to short. Al Dark eats it up. There's his throw over to Torgerson in time, and Joe Gordon is out at first base. Gordon grounds out short to first. Dark to Torgerson. Now here's Kenny Keltner coming up. Kenny bats him right-handed. Hit .299 on the season. In yesterday's ball game, he had 1 out of 4. The Indians weren't able to bunch their hits yesterday. The few that they did get. Warren Spahn comes in with an overhand fastball that's outside. Ball 1. 1 ball, no strikes. It's a 1-0 ball game, favor the Braves. The Braves won yesterday's opener by a 1-0 score. Spahn working rapidly, delivers. Keltner he started to cut, takes a pitch high, ball 2. There's that slow curve that Warren Spahn uses to great effectiveness, but it came in too high. The outfield is playing Keltner around toward left. He's a pull hitter. Eddie Stanky's laying almost directly back at second base. Spahn delivers. Keltner swings and he misses. Strike 1. He went after that 2-0 pitch, which was that slow curve. And that takes quite a bit of courage in a sense. And certainly a will to come in there when you're behind with that curveball. Now the 2-1 pitch. Keltner swings on it, sends a long, high fly ball to deep left center. There's Mike McCormick and Marv Rickert out there, and it's Rickert making the catch for out number 2. The wind blowing off the Charles River made that drive fade. Had the wind been blowing out, that ball might have gone all the way up against the wall, possibly over.
Larry Doby.
With 2 down, up comes Larry Doby, left-hand hitter, with .301 on the season, hitting .250 in the series. He had a hit yesterday, 1 out of 4. 1-0 favor the Boston Braves. Top half of the second inning. 2 outs and nobody on. Warren Spahn delivers to the left-hand batter, takes outside into the dirt. Ball 1. The outfield plays Doby just about straight away almost. Shaded, well, they shade him slightly toward left. He can pull, but he hits a lot to left center and straight away. Now the pitch. Swung on, popped high into the air off to the left of the plate. Coming back is Saul Kell, but he can't get it. The ball's out of play. So it's a life for Doby. 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 outs. Top half the second inning, 1-0 favor of Boston. Warren Spahn, the left-hander from Buffalo. Second half of the Braves' tremendous 1-2 punch in pitching. He's ready. Into the windup. Round comes the left arm. The pitch. Fastball moves Doby away from there. Ball 2. Fastball inside. Mel Harder coaching at first base for Cleveland. Bill McKechnie at third. Spahn looks in, has his sign, working rapidly. He's ready for that 2-1 pitch. In it comes. Larry Doby takes, and it's high for ball 3. 3-1. 3 balls, 1 strike. Sun is shining out here at Braves Field now. Just before the game got underway, there were a few drops of rain that came down. But now the skies have cleared, at least in one direction, and the sun is shining. Spahn's 3-1 delivery to Doby. Swung on, lined out to left center field. It's in there for a base hit in between Rickard and McCormick. McCormick makes a beautiful cutoff. There's Doby rounding first, digging for second. He slides in with a double. His great speed enabled him to get 2 bases on his drive to left center that Mike McCormick cut off beautifully. But he was unable to get that throw in there in time, and Doby, as he rounded first, decided to go for 2, and he did. So Doby doubles to left center. That's a favorite spot for him to hit into. And that is the first extra base hit of this World Series. A double for Larry Doby with 2 outs on the top of the second inning. And the batter is Eddie Robinson, left-handed hitting first baseman. Spahn with a stretch. In comes the pitch. Robinson takes low, ball 1. Larry Doby gets the first extra base hit of this series. There were 6 hits in the ball game yesterday, all singles. 4 for the Braves, 2 for the Braves, 4 for the Indians. All singles. Warren Spahn to the stretch, checks the runner. Here's the pitch. Robinson takes outside. Ball 2. 2 balls, no strikes. Jimmy Higgins on deck. He'll hit next if Eddie Robinson should get on. Robinson hit .256 during the season. He went hitless yesterday and 3 times at bat. Outfield plays him straight away. Bob Elliott in fairly close at third, 10 feet off the line. There's a whirl around by Spahn, but no throw. Al Dark doesn't even move. He's laying over close to second. Eddie Stanky is laying halfway between first and second, back on the edge of the outfield grass. Now Spahn again takes the stretch, checks his runner. Here's the pitch. Eddie Robinson takes a hook inside for ball 3. 3 balls, no strikes to count on the Cleveland Indians first baseman. 3-0 count. Robbie digs in. I don't know whether he'll be going for the 3-0 pitch or not. Stretch by Spahn. Here's your delivery. And it's in there for a called strike. Sometimes with 2 outs and a runner in scoring position. Occasionally a manager might give a hitter, especially a guy who hits a long ball, and Robbie does. Sometimes he gives him the go sign on a 3-0 pitch. All right, Spahn delivers. Eddie Robinson takes, and it's high for ball 4. He walks. Trots on down to first base, and that brings up Jimmy Hegan. And one of the reasons, perhaps, that Lou Boudreau decided not to give Eddie Robinson the green light on a 3-0 pitch was the fact he had a right-hand hitter coming up next and might want to get him up there against a left-hand pitcher. Red Barrett is throwing the bullpen now for the Braves. Eddie Robinson on first base, Larry Doby on second, 2 down, top half the second inning, 1-0 Braves. The stretch, here's the pitch to Jim Hegan. And it's in there for a call strike over the inside corner, about belt high. Hegan hit .248 on the regular season. Had 1 out of 3 yesterday, hitting .333 in the series. Spahn throws, a pitch is swung on. There's a long fly ball in the left center field. Mike McCormick races over, and Rickard, and it's McCormick under the ball, and he makes the catch. Once again, that wind that blows off the river made that drive fade. And the Indians fail to score. No runs, 1 hit, no Brave errors, 2 left on for Cleveland. And at the end of an inning and a half, the score, the Braves 1, Cleveland 0. Folks, with the new Gillette dispenser, You just push with your thumb, and there's an unwrapped Gillette Blue Blade. Ask Johnny Pesky of the Boston Red Sox, who's here with me. He says it's the greatest shaving convenience ever. Can you add to that, Johnny?
Well, fans, it saves a lot of bother when you want to change blades. Also, I find it protects the blades perfectly.
Folks, let me tell you something. That's right. The blades reach you factory sharp and stay that way until used.
Another thing, Mel, the dispenser holds 20 blades, a good supply to have on hand, and you pay nothing extra for it.
Well, that's right, Johnny, and thanks. Remember, men, look sharp, feel sharp, be sharp. Use Gillette Blue Blades with the sharpest edges ever honed. And for extra convenience, buy them in the Gillette dispenser for 98 cents, $1 in Canada. Last half of the second inning, 1-0 favor the Braves.
First half of the Braves, Bill Salkel.
Leading off for Boston in the last half inning, number 2, will be Bill Salkel. He's the fellow who got the walk in the 8th inning yesterday off Bob Feller that led to the lone run and the winning run of the ball game. Salkel will be followed by Mike McCormick and then Eddie Stanky. Bill's a left-hand hitter. Bob Lemon on the mound for Cleveland. Looks in to get his sign from Hegan. Right-hander starts the windup. Round comes the arm, the pitch. Strike one called, curve. He got the outside corner, just above the knees. Outfield playing Salkel just about straight away. Lou Boudreau laying over near second. Here's your pitch. Has a curve that's high, and the count is even up at 1-1. Kenny Keltner is laying about 10-12 feet off the third baseline. Joe Gordon is very deep at second, almost halfway between first and second. Eddie Robinson on the edge of the outfield grass and about 5 feet off the first baseline. 1 ball, 1 strike. 1-0 Braves, last half of the second inning. Lemon throws, pitch is swung on line, solidly out to right field, and it's in there for a base hit. Clarke runs over to cut the ball off, grabs it on 2 hops, whips his throw into the infield, and Salkel holds it first after taking his turn with a line single to right. That brings to the plate Mike McCormick. Mike's a right-hand hitter. Hit .299 on the regular season. Went 0 for 2 yesterday. 1-0 favor the Braves. Bob Lemon takes the stretch, checks his runner. Here's the pitch. McCormick looks at a fastball that's high. Ball 1. One ball, no strikes. Lemon ready. Salkel leads away from first. Here's your pitch. Another fastball. It's outside. Ball 2. 2 balls, no strikes. Lemon hasn't seemed quite as sharp so far as we have seen during the course of the regular season. Sometimes pitchers start out a little shaky and then regain that special touch of theirs. Perhaps he will. Now he throws. McCormick takes. Strike call. Just did get that one over the plate about letter high. And the count is 2-1. Outfield playing Mike McCormick toward left. 1-0 favor the Boston Braves. It's the last half of the second inning. Now the pitch. McCormick bunts and pops it up in the air. Lemon races fast, grabs it in the air, flips over to first, trying for the DP. Can't make it, but there's one away. Mike McCormick attempting to drop a bunt by surprise down the third baseline. He didn't square away, as one will normally do in an effort to sacrifice. At the very last split second, he almost half threw his bat at the ball, trying to drop one down the third baseline, not only for a sacrifice purpose, but definitely to try and beat it out. But he popped it in the air, and Bob Lemon, a good fielding pitcher, dashed over the line, grabbed the ball, and while off balance, threw over the first, trying to double up Salkel, but couldn't do it. So there's one away, and the batter, Eddie Stanky, right-hand hitter. First pitch to him. It's a pitch out. There's a throw down to first base, not in time. Jimmy Hegan, figuring that the Boston Braves might be putting on the hit and run, called for a pitch out on the first delivery by Bob Lemon. Whipped his throw down to Eddie Robinson, but it was not nearly in time. The hit and run not being on. Ed Stanky stands deep in the batter's box, slightly open stance, in close to the plate. Eddie Robinson just in behind the runner. Here's your pitch, and it's outside for ball 2. Outside and a little high. The outfield is not too deep for Stanky. They're about straight away. Lou Boudreau is in halfway at short and over close to the bag at second. Joe Gordon's in about the same way and over near the bag. Here's your pitch. Swung on, bounced off the plate and off the foot, too, of Eddie Stanky, and Bill Summers calls it foul. So it is a 2-1 count. We've just received word that those photographers who were at first, we thought, run out of there underneath the scoreboard in left center, had received special permission to snap pictures out there to get unusual angles of the World Series play. All right, Lemon delivers to Stanky, who swings and fouls it off to the right of the plate. Ball going out of play. 1-0 in favor of the Boston Braves. It's the last half of the second inning. Bill Salkeld is on first base. 1 down. And Ed Stanky, the batter, with a count 2-2. Bob Lemon taking his time now. Goes to the rosin bag, gives a bit of a touch. Then he pulls at the visor of his cap. Has a look around at Salkeld, leading off first base. Now on the rubber, he looks in, gets his sign from Hegan, takes a stretch. Stanky set at the plate. Here's your pitch. Stanky takes high inside. Ball 3, 3-2. Stanky's a tough little fellow to pitch to. Gets a lot of bases on balls, and he's worked the count to 3-2 here. He has a tremendous amount of patience. Loves to wait those pitchers out. To him, a walk is as good as a base hit any time. There's a throw to first base, not in time. Again, Lemon is all set for his 3-2 pitch. Checks his runner. There goes the runner. The pitch is taken, and it is high for ball 4. Stanky walks. That moves Salkeld down to second. Bill was running. Had the pitch been in there for a strike, he might have had a chance for the double play, but it was high for ball 4, and Stanky walks. Salkeld moves to second, and the batter is Warren Spahn. Spahn is just a fair batter for a pitcher. He's had 1 home run. Of course, not in this series, but during the regular season. Hit at 167, left-hand batter. He swings and fouls it off behind the plate, strike 1. But any baseball player will tell you, when there are runners on the bases, no matter who you are, if you're up there swinging a bat, you're dangerous. Last half the second, the score. The Boston Braves 1, the Cleveland Indians 0. Bill Salkeld on second base, Eddie Stanky on first base. 1 man out and Warren Spahn the batter, with Tommy Holmes on deck. Bob Lemon with a stretch, delivers. Spahn takes, and it's inside. Fastball. Backed him away. Ball 1. One ball, 1 strike, 1 out, 2 men on. Game moving at a comparatively slow tempo as compared to yesterday's game. Here's your pitch. It's swung on, foul tip for strike 2. I'll say one thing. Spahn takes a good cut of the ball. Billy Southworth, coaching at third, claps his hands together, hollers some words of encouragement up there to the batter. Freddie Fitzsimmons coaching at first base today for Boston. Johnny Cooney was on the coaching line at first base yesterday for the Braves. Outfield straight away for Warren. Bob Lemon delivers. The pitch is swung on and fouled off at the plate. Bill Summers' booming voice heard all around Braves Field. Whenever Bill Summers makes a decision, you know it. Everybody knows it. He's very decisive about it, vocally speaking as well. Or is that redundant, Jim, to say vocally speaking? Bobby Lemon all set. Salkeld leads off second. Stanky off first. 1 away. Here's your pitch, and it's outside. Ball 2, 2-2 the count. We just took a look overhead. We see a lot of blue in the sky. The sun is still shining, and so the rain which fell just before the game began looks as if it won't come down anymore. Here's your pitch, and it's high outside for ball 3, 3-2. So Bob Lemon, trying to be a little too cagey with Warren Spahn after being ahead of him, has now run the count out all the way to 3-2. With 1 down, Salkeld on second and Stanky on first. May be playing it safe. On the other hand, Billy Southworth may risk him running. We'll watch him. The stretch, the pitch, it swung on a ground ball hit out towards second. Gordon, who was left up with it, throws to Robinson for the out, moving to third, Salkel. Down to second moves Stanky. A nice play by Joe Gordon, as Spahn came very close to getting that ball into the hole between first and second. As a matter of fact, he hit the ball right into the hole, but didn't have quite enough push behind it. And Joe Gordon, ever the flash still, darted to his left and came up with the ball and tossed the batter out. So Spahn on the 3-2 pitch grounds out Gordon to Robinson. And now you have Salkel on third, Stanky on second. 2 men out, and the batter, Tommy Holmes. And now Jimmy Hegan and Bill Summers having a bit of discussion at home plate. Tommy Holmes moves into hitting position. He bounced out to Lemon in the first inning. The man who got the base hit that broke up yesterday's ball game. They're calling him the Brooklyn Bomber today. That's his home in Flatbush. But his heart is right here in Boston. Lemon into the full windup, delivers. Tommy Holmes takes outside, ball one. Alvin Dark is on deck. Despite the fact that Dark is a right-hand hitter and first base is open and 2 down, Lou Boudreau not going to walk the left-hand hitter to pitch to the right-hand hitter. He's working on the batter, and the pitch is high inside, almost hit Tommy Holmes, ball 2. Bob Lemon came in with a high inside pitch, and Tommy Holmes had to really hustle to get away from that plate and away from that ball. So it's a 2-0 count. Lou's strategy may have been anyway to have Bob try to get corners on Holmes, and if he doesn't, well, first base is open anyway. 2 balls, no strikes, 2 outs. Runners on second and third. Salkel on third, Stanky on second. Last half of the second inning, 1-0 favor the Braves. Lemon into the windup, 2-0 pitch to Holmes. Swung on a boundary hit right back to the box. Lemon takes it, throws over to Robinson in time for the out, and that is all for the Boston Braves in the last half of the second inning, as Bob Lemon, for the second consecutive time, gets Tommy Holmes to wrap back to the box. No runs, 1 hit. No errors for the Indians. 2 left on for Boston. And the score at the end of 2 innings of play, the Braves 1, the Indians 0. And now we pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
This is WOR, New York, the Mutual station that brings you the World Series and other top sports events the year round.
This is Mel Allen with Jim Britt speaking to you again from Boston, from Braves Field in Boston, Massachusetts, where under the sponsorship of the Gillette Safety Razor Company, we are bringing you the play-by-play description of the World Series between the Cleveland Indians and the Boston Braves. This is the second game of the series. The Braves lead 1-0 as we go to the top of the third inning. Warren Spahn, the left-hander, trying to follow up Johnny Sain's brilliant shutout victory yesterday. All set to work on the leadoff man for the Indians in the top of the third. And it'll be Bob Lemon. Bob, a left-hand swinger, a good hitter. As you know, he was an outfielder and an infielder before he became a pitcher. Spahn into the windup, delivers. Lemon takes inside, ball 1. Lemon hit .286 on the year. Frequently used as pinch hitter. Warren Spahn ready. Into the windup. Round comes the left arm. In comes the pitch. Lemon swings and hits a blooper out into left field. Waiting for it is Rickert, and he takes it for the out. So there's one away. Rickert hardly had to move to get that one. Bob Lemon flied to Marv Rickert in left. And now we go to the top of the order for Cleveland to pick up Dale Mitchell. Mitchell fouled out to Bob Elliott in the first inning. Dale still has to break into the hit column in the World Series. Yet he hit .335 during the regular American League season, one of the top hitters in the league. Spahn throws, pitch, right in there for a called strike. Overhand fastball, got the plate about knee high. Bob Elliott laying in close at third because Mitchell sometimes likes to lay him down. Here's your delivery. It's swung on. A little fly ball down the left field line. Rickert chasing it. He's going to get under it. And he makes the catch in foul territories. He caught the ball after he crossed the line. So they're 2 down. And the Indians unable to solve the delivery of Warren Spahn thus far. have had but one hit. That was a double by Larry Doby in the second inning with 2 outs, the only extra base hit of the World Series thus far. Now here's Clarke, right-hand batter. First pitch to him. Up high, ball 1. That slow curve responds. Clarke struck out in the first inning. Spahn working very fast, taking very little time between pitches. Throws very high, and the count is 2 balls, no strikes. Two nothing count on Clarke. 1-0 favor the Boston Braves. Top half of the third inning. Spahn taking a little time now. Now he's ready. Here's his pitch. Clarke swings and sends a grounder deep to third. There's Elliott going to his left up with it. Throws over to Torgeson in time, and Clarke is out. Clarke hit a slow bound into the hole between third and short, but Elliott had time to drift to his left, grab it, and fire to first to retire Clarke. No runs for Cleveland, no hits, no brave errors, nobody left on for the Indians. And at the end of 2.5 innings of play, the score, Braves 1, Cleveland nothing. If you were listening when Johnny Pesky of the Boston Red Sox was on the air a while ago, you heard him say that the new Gillette dispenser is the greatest shaving convenience ever. Yes, fans, it's the handiest thing you can imagine, for it deals out unwrapped Gillette blue blades presto and makes blade changing a cinch with any Gillette razor. You save time, save fuss, and save patience as well. What's more, the shaving edges are perfectly protected at all times. They don't even touch the dispenser when blades are being ejected. Enjoy extra shaving convenience. Buy Gillette blue blades in the new Gillette dispenser. You pay nothing extra, just 98 cents, the regular price of 20 blades. Look sharp, feel sharp, be sharp. Use Gillette blue blades with the sharpest edges ever honed. Coming into the last half of the third inning, it's Alvin Dark leading off for the Boston Braves, right-hand hitter. Dark was safe on an error by Joe Gordon in the first inning. That opened the gates to the Braves' lone run. Here's a pitch, and it's outside from Bob Lemon for ball 1. That error on Dark's bounder was followed by successive base hits on the part of Torgeson and Elliott to produce the run. A pickoff play prevented another run from being scored. Dark looks at a fastball over for a called strike, 1-1. Outfield playing Dark toward left. Ken Keltner laying halfway back at third and about 6-7 feet off the line. Lou Boudreau shading second, more than third, and in 2 or 3 steps. Joe Gordon over close to second and a step. Eddie Robinson, the first baseman, about 10-15 feet off the first base line. Here's a sidearm curveball that's inside for ball 2. We had to wait for Bill Summers to call it because Al Dark looked like he had a notion of laying that ball down the third baseline and beating it out. So we had to wait for Bill Summers to decide whether or not he went through with that notion or held up. Summers says he held up, and the count is 2-1. Now the pitch, sidearm fastball is swung on, lined over Boudreau's head into left center field for a base hit. Mitchell races over to cut it off. Dark rounds first, puts on the brakes, and goes back to first base as Mitchell played that ball beautifully to keep it from going through for extra bases. Doby was over there to help him, but Dark is on with a line single to left field as he lined that ball directly over Lou Boudreau's head. Now that's the 4th hit for the Boston Braves off Bob Lemon, and brings to the plate Earl Torgeson, who singled to right in the first inning. Left-hand batter. Lemon with a stretch, checks his runner. Here's your pitch, and it's outside, ball 1. Jimmy Hegan, after catching that ball, took a fast hop to the left of the plate, and that arm cocked ready to throw. Activity in the Indians' bullpen. We cannot identify the hurler since it's in behind the wall out there. We can just barely see an arm throwing. Now, Bob Lemon ready, throws a pitch that's inside, and the count is 2-0 on Torgeson. This is a very tough ballpark in which to hit home runs due to the wind constantly blowing off the river just in back of the fences. Makes those high drives fade. We were talking to Johnny Mize about that yesterday. There's a throw over to first base, not in time. Mize said, brother, I know. He said, I played in that ballpark. That's one of the toughest ones I know of to hit home runs in. 2 balls, no strikes. Earl Torgerson, the batter. Al Dark on first base. Another throw over to first base, not in time. Lemon trying to keep the runner close. Dark is speed merchant. The stretch by Lemon. Checks his run. Another throw over to first base. Evidently and of course not in time, evidently the Indians suspect the hit and run. With the count 2-0 on the batter, it's a perfect time for it. Inasmuch as that's a favorite pitch for batters to swing on, since the pitcher being behind, has got to come in with something over the plate or be really behind. All right, there goes the runner. The pitch is swung on and foul off coming right back here. Might catch it, Jim. Almost. We almost had to pause, not for station identification or anything, but pause to catch a baseball here. We won't give Jim an error on that one because he had to go to his right to try and get it. 2 balls, 1 strike. Earl Torgerson, the batter. Bob Lemon looks in to get his sign. Kenny Keltner in on the grass at third. Lemon sets, throws. The pitch is swung on, hit up into the air, out into short right center. Gordon going out, Doby coming in, and Clarke says he has it, makes the catch. And Al Dark, who was almost halfway to second, goes back to first. That was the type of ball that could have caused trouble. It was hit in that Texas League part of the outfield in right center. You had Larry Doby coming over from center, Allie Clarke from right, Joe Gordon going out, and 3 men hollering and trying to make up their minds as to which one should get it. And finally, Clarke called for it. He took it. So there's 1 down, and the batter now, Bob Elliott, right-hand hitter, who singled to right in the first inning. Lemon with a stretch, checks Dark, leading off first. Robinson holding the bag against him. Here's the pitch, and it's accidentally swung on and fouled down the first base line. The ball bouncing off the shins of Freddie Fitzsimmons, who's coaching at first base for the Braves. That reminds me of a time when Freddie was pitching in a World Series game, and the ball was hit right back to the box and hit his knee. He was pitching for the Brooklyn Dodgers against the New York Yankees in the World Series back in 1941. He was pitching a great ball game, too, for a guy who, in a sense, was past his prime. Bob Lemon all set to work again on Bob Elliott. Dark moves off first. Here's your delivery. And it's a curveball. It stays high and outside, and count is even up now at 1-1. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out. Last half of the 3rd inning, the Boston Braves won, the Cleveland Indians nothing. Second game of the World Series. The scene shifts tomorrow to Municipal Stadium on the shorefront of Lake Erie in Cleveland. Here's your pitch. Elliott swings and he misses. There's a throw down to first base and the tag, but not in time. Dark with a headlong slide gets back in. And as a sidelight, Higgins' throw was almost into right field. And that ball kept rising. 1 ball, 2 strikes to count. Bob Elliott out of the batter's box now, moves back in hitting position. Outfield around toward left. Kenny Keltner's backed up at third. About 5-6 feet off the line. Not looking for Elliott to hit anything right down the line. Boudreau in halfway at second. At short, over near second. Here's the pitch. Swung on and missed by Bob Elliott for strike 3. Is that curveball. Had him rippling. And missing. So it's strikeout for Bob Lemon. 2 down. And the batter coming up now is Marv Rickert. Rickert struck out in the first. And Bobby Lemon seems to be settling down just a little bit. We don't know whether or not he had a case of jitters as the game started. After all, it's his first start. There's a throw to first base. Not in time. First start in the World Series. You can't blame him. There's another throw to first base. Not in time. He's really trying to keep that Dark close. After all, it's the goal, the dream of every ball player, and the pressure's really hot and heavy all the way. But now he's used to it. He's ready to pitch now to the left-hand-hitted Rickert. The pitch, swung on, a little roller, hit out toward the mound. Lemon takes it, throws over to Robinson in time for the out, and Rickert is out. Lemon to Robinson. I like the way that Lemon fields his position. He's like a cat. I guess he's perhaps the best fielding pitcher we've seen in the World Series. This is an offhand thought since Harry the Cat Burkeen. No runs for the Boston Braves in the last half of the 3rd inning. 1 hit. No errors for Cleveland. 1 man left on for Boston. And at the end of 3 innings of play, the Braves lead Cleveland by a score of 1-0. With your 3 inning totals, the Braves 1 run, 4 hits, no errors. Cleveland, no runs, 1 hit, one error. The one run for Boston, for you late tuners in, came in the first inning when, with one away, Alvin Dark's bounder was fumbled by Joe Gordon for an error, and then there were successive singles following by Earl Torgerson and Bob Elliott. So that's the situation as we get ready to move now into the top half of the fourth inning. And it's going to be the brilliant shortstop and manager of the Cleveland Indians, Lou Boudreau, who will be leading off. I, for one, and baseball observers whom I've had the pleasure of talking to in the last few days, in addition, will never forget one of the most sensational performances anybody has ever seen in the clutch, and Lou Boudreau in that playoff game at Fenway Park on Monday. Warren Spahn throws, Lou takes outside, ball one. He went 4 for 4. He sparked his club to win that pennant in that playoff. It was a tremendous individual performance. Now Warren Spahn's delivery to Lou. Swung on. There's a drive out of the right field. It's in there for a base hit. Being there for extra bases. There is Lou rounding first, digging for second. The ball being chased out of there by Tommy Holmes. Boudreau goes into second, standing up for the double as the throw comes into Eddie Stanky. And that's the second extra base hit in the World Series. Larry Doby got the first one in the second inning, a double to left center. And now Lou Boudreau doubles into the right field corner as he hit a line drive down the right field line with the outfield pulled around toward left. And that brings to the plate Joe Gordon. There's activity now in the Boston Braves bullpen. It's Red Barrett, a right-hander, warming up. And that for the Indians makes hit number 2 in the ball game. Now Joe Gordon, who grounded short in the second inning, is up the outfield toward left. Warren Spahn throws. Gordon swings and lines one down the left field line, and Rickard going for it, can't get in. The ball goes foul at the last second. Foul by about 3 feet. Joe Gordon hit a tremendous line drive down the left field line by Marv Rickard, who was going at top speed toward the line. The ball soared by him, but when it hit the ground, it was fouled by 3 feet up against the left field fence. It is 337 feet, incidentally, from home plate down the left field line into the corner, and 319 feet from home plate down the right field line into the corner. Joe Gordon really teed off on that one. Fouled just by about 3 feet. All right, we're ready now. One strike on Gordon. Warren Spahn ready. Checks the runner. Here's the pitch. Gordon swings and lines one out to left center field, and it's in there for the base hit. Boudreau rounds third on his way to the plate. Here's Rickard's throw. It may be close. No, Boudreau scores, and going down to second on the throw to the plate is Joe Gordon. And it's a tie ball game, 1-1. Joe Gordon lined a single to left center. Marv Rickard fired to the plate, but Lou Boudreau outlegged the throw, and Gordon went to second on the throw to the plate. And that brings up Kenny Keltner, right-hand hitter. Warren Spahn with a stretch, checks Gordon leading off second. Here's your pitch, and it's outside. Ball 1. Joe Gordon, as we check quickly here, is the first batter in the World Series to get 2 hits. Spahn all set. Pitches. Kenny Keltner takes fastball over the outside corner for a called strike. 1-1. Larry Doby also has had 2 hits to keep our record straight. Now the pitch. Kenny Keltner takes strike called over that outside corner again. Fastball. Kenny comes out of the batter's box, reaches down and gets a little dirt. Perhaps has a word or two to say to Bill Summers. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Score tied 1-1. Top half of the 4th inning. Lou Boudreau opened with a double to right field. Gordon singled to left center to score Lou and took second on the throw to the plate. Warren Spahn delivers now to Keltner, who swings and hits a fly ball down the left field line, going foul. Rickard racing over, getting under it, and makes the catch for the out. Gordon holds up at second base. He saw that the ball was going to be foul and went back to second to be in position to tag up, but then when he saw that Rickard was catching the ball fairly close toward third base, he decided just to hold at second. So Keltner hits a long foul fly to Marv Rickard for the first out in the inning. And up to the plate now steps Larry Doby, who doubled to left center in the second inning. Warren Spahn takes his stretch. Joe Gordon moves off second. A look back by the left-hander. Here's the delivery.
Doby takes a fastball low. Ball one. One ball, no strikes. Doby guarding that plate. Gordon moves off second. Warren Spahn looks back. Now he pitches. Doby takes. Strike called. Half speed ball. Got the outside corner. Outfield playing Doby straight away. Bob Elliott's in fairly close at third because Doby, being fleet-footed, frequently lays him down and beats him out. First baseman Earl Torgerson guarding that first baseline. Eddie Stanky is shading second more than first, however. Al Dark in halfway at short over near second, trying to keep Gordon close. Here's your pitch. Doby takes high inside now for ball two. 2-1. It's a 1-1 ball game, top half of the fourth inning. Yesterday's ball game was completed in very rapid time. This one moving at a much slower pace. Here's your delivery. Doby looks at one outside for ball three. 3-1. And Spahn is beginning to lose some of his effectiveness that he displayed in the earlier innings. Red Barrett still throwing the bullpen for Boston. Now Spahn checks with Salkel, ready. Has the stretch. Joe Gordon leads away from second base again. Here's your pitch. Doby swings and hits one into the hole between first and second on the ground to right field for a base hit. Gordon rounds third, digs for the plate. Tommy Holmes up the ball, throws it in. It's cut off by Torgerson. He throws to second. Sliding in is Doby safely. And the Cleveland Indians move out in front 2-1 as Doby hit one on the ground in between first and second into right field, scoring Joe Gordon from second base. Doby never broke stride. He rounded first, and he saw Holmes throwing to the plate. He kept going to second. Torgerson cut the throw off when he saw that he would not get Gordon at the plate and fired to Dark at second, but Doby's speed had him in there with a slide ahead of the tag by Dark. So Doby drives in a run, moves to second on the throw to the plate, and now here is Eddie Robinson, who swings and sends a drive down the left field line. Rickert going deep under it, makes a running catch for the out. And Doby, who was halfway to third, has to go back to second. Ed Robinson got hold of an outside pitch and drove it high and deep down the left field line, but Marv Rickert, who was able to get going, the ball was hit high enough for him to get under it and make the catch. Now there are two down, and Jim Hegan coming up. And Billy Southworth's strategy is to have Mr. Hegan put on. So they're going to walk him purposely. Jim Hegan is to receive an intentional pass. With 2 runs in, the Indians leading the Braves 2-1. And with the long ball potential and base hit potential of Jim Hegan, a right-hand hitter, they decide to put him on with first base open and 2 down and pitch to the left-handed hitting Bob Lemon. So Hegan gets the 4th wide of him. He trots on down to first base. Larry Doby's on second. And here's Bobby Lemon stepping in. Fly to left field in the 3rd inning. He's a good hitter for a pitcher. Doby on second, Hegan on first, 2 down, 2 in, top of the 4th, 2-1 Cleveland. The pitch. There's its pitch swung on, little roller hit to the mound, grabbed by Spahn. He throws over to Torgerson in time for the out. And that's the end of the threat and the rally for the Cleveland Indians in the top of the 4th inning, which saw them score 2 runs, 3 hits, no Brave errors, and 2 men left on for Cleveland. And the score at the end of 3 1/2 innings of play, Cleveland 2, Boston 1. Thumbing through a 1912 magazine recently, I came across an ad announcing the ultimate in motor cars. Nothing finer would ever be built. I repeat, it was a 1912 model, and you wouldn't drive it today on a bet. Some of you men still are shaving with a 1912 model Gillette razor. Originally, it was the finest razor money could buy, and if it has never been dropped and knocked out of alignment, it's still a good razor. But today's Gillette Superspeed razor is as far superior as today's motor car. Hook on a blade from a Gillette dispenser, twist, and you're all set for the sweetest shave of your life. See the modern Gillette Superspeed razor, and you'll buy it. Complete with a 10-blade Gillette dispenser, it's a regular $1.50 value for only $1. And now we're ready for the last half of the 4th inning. Braves field, with the Cleveland Indians leading the Boston Braves 2-1 as they broke out in the top of the 4th inning with a brief display of their vaunted power.
However, Warren Spahn was equal to the task, and along with the strategy of manager Billy Southworth, they got out of the inning without any further damage and lost their one-run lead, but are trailing by but one. And so, in the last half of the fourth inning now, the Boston Braves come to bat with Bill Salkeld leading off. He'll be followed by Mike McCormick and then Eddie Stanky. Bobby Lemon, who was off to a comparative shaky start, has seemed to settle down, has gotten accustomed to the World Series feeling and tension. Into the windup, pitches to Salkeld, who takes a fastball eye high. Ball one. 1 ball, no strikes. You may be sure that should the score remain as it is, that there will be those among the wagsters who will say Lemon squeezed by 2-1 or something to that effect. But that's part of the ball game. Now the pitch. Fastball is low inside. Ball 2. 2 balls, no strikes. 2-1 ball game, favor the Indians, last half of the fourth. And when you say the Indians, you mean the Cleveland Club. The Braves of Boston, playing in the Boston Wigwam. Bobby Lemon delivers a pitch that swung on and foul tipped the plate. 2-1 the count. Salkeld really cut at that one. Bobby Lemon has been a busy boy today. He's handled something like 5 chances thus far. The right-hander delivers. Salkeld swings and foul tips it for strike 2. Foul tip held on to by Jimmy Hegan. Let's see, he tossed out Holmes in the first inning for 1. And again in the second for 2. He caught a pop-up in the second for 3. And he had a chance in the third for 4. Had four fielding opportunities. 2 balls, 2 strikes to count on Bill Salkeld. The outfield playing him straight away. In comes the pitch, and it's a little high. Ball 3, 3-2. To complete the fifth one, as we told you, the pickoff play at second base, Lemon to Boudreau gave him an assist. All right, the payoff pitch on its way. Salkeld takes high, ball 4. So Bill Salkeld continues to exert some sort of strange spell against Cleveland pitchers. It was Salkeld, you recall, who got the walk in the 8th inning yesterday, leading off, that paved the way for the lone run of the ball game and the Braves' victory. He singled to right in the second inning. First time up today, and now he's just walked. That brings to the plate Mike McCormick, right-hand batter, who swings and sends a bounder into the hole between third and short out to left field for a base hit. Dale Mitchell grabs the ball in a big hop, throws in toward third, holding second is Salkeld, and the Braves have something threatening here in the last of the fourth. Mike McCormick, who had popped out to Bob Lemon in a bunt attempt in the second inning, hits the first pitch, smashing one on the ground, a high bouncer to the left and over the head of Kenny Keltner, sending Salkeld to second. That brings up Eddie Stanky. Now the Indians are looking for the bunt. Eddie Robinson way in on the grass at first. Keltner hoping to anchor at third, but he's in on the grass. The pitch, Stanky takes it, and it's in there for a called strike. There's activity in the meantime in the Indians' bullpen. It would appear to be Ed Kleiman throwing. It's difficult for us to see. It's in behind the fence, beyond the outfield reaches. Lou Boudreau just in behind Salkeld, trying to hold him close. Eddie Robinson moving way in on the grass. Here's the pitch Stanky takes, and the pitch is outside for a ball, 1-1. Jimmy Hegan cocked his arms if he's going to throw somewhere, but had nowhere to throw. And so you have one of those exciting moments when a batter, to all intents and purposes, is up there to bunt, the first baseman charging the plate, the third baseman not charging because there's a runner on second, hoping to be able to anchor at third for the fourth play there, and yet realizing that he may have to go in case the bunt is shoved down his way. The pitch is bunted down toward first. There is Robinson up the ball, must play it to first base to Joe Gordon for the out, a perfect sacrifice. Eddie Stanky bunts one down the first baseline. Eddie Robinson fields it, had only one play to Joe Gordon, who covered first, and that moved Salkeld to third and Mike McCormick to second. So the Boston Braves have runners now on second and third, 2 men in scoring position, with Warren Spahn coming to bat. Spahn grounded out to Joe Gordon in the second inning. Sam Zoldak, a left-hander, starting to throw in the bullpen for Cleveland. Now the outfield about straight away for the left-hand batter. Bob Lemon throws. Spahn ducks a high inside pitch for ball one. The Cleveland infield is laying in for a possible play at the plate. And there's Lou Boudreau motioning out to Dale Mitchell in the left field to come in a little closer. Hoping to keep that man on second from scoring in the event of a base hit out that way. That's Mike McCormick. Salkell is on third. Here's your pitch. Spahn swings and hits one back to the box, and it's taken by Lemon. Throws over to Robinson, and the runners hold. And again, Bob Lemon comes to the fore as he induces Warren Spahn to hit back to the box. Bill Salkell broke toward the plate, took about 2 steps with the crack of the bat, but when he saw Lemon with that ball in his glove, he darted back to third. Lemon, when he caught the ball, looked around to see if he had a play on the man at third or the man at second, saw that he didn't, and then threw over to Robinson at first to retire Spahn for the second out. Thus, the runners hold at second and third, and now the batter is Tommy Holmes, who twice has bounced out to Lemon. A left-hand batter, the pitch in there for a called strike. And you've got a great moment in this ball game right here, with the Cleveland Indians leading 2-1, and the Boston Braves with runners on second and third and 1 out, unable to move them as Warren Spahn bounces out to Bobby Lemon, the 6th fielding opportunity he's had in this ball game, and we'll check the record books in a little while to see if that approximates a World Series record or surpasses one. The right-hander throws, and Holmes takes outside for a ball, and the count now is 1-1. And the fans seated here at Braves Field are not hollering too much at the moment. They're ready to explode, but nevertheless inside them, their hearts are pounding, pulses are racing. It's indeed a great moment because the Indians are out in front 2-1. A base hit will put the Braves in front by a score of 3-2. So here's the pitch. Tommy Holmes takes inside. And the count now is 2-1 as Bobby Lemon bearing down out there trying to get Tommy Holmes out. Indians aware of what Tommy Holmes did yesterday in the 8th inning as he drove in the winning run in the 8th inning with 2 down. And you've got Dale Mitchell laying a little closer to that left field line today for Tommy Holmes than he was yesterday. Matter of fact, Larry Doby is a step or 2 over toward left center. Allie Clarke playing right field is a step or 2 over toward right center. They're not playing Tommy to pull too sharply. You've got Bill Salkell on third. Mike McCormick on second, 2 down. Bob Lemon throws the pitch high, ball 3. 3-1, and they're being extra careful with Tommy Holmes. You got the right-hander hitting Alvin Dark on deck. There were 2 men on in the second inning when Tommy Holmes came up with 2 outs, and he bounced out to Lemon. Now let's see what he does on this 3-1 pitch. Bob into the windup throws. Holmes swings and hits a fly ball down the left field line. Dale Mitchell goes over. He's getting under it, and he makes the catch for the out. And so the Braves threaten, but fail to score in the last half of the 4th inning. No runs, 1 hit, no Cleveland errors, and 2 men left on for Boston. The score at the end of 4 innings of play, Cleveland 2, the Braves 1 with your totals. Cleveland 2 runs, 4 hits, 1 error. The Boston Braves 1 run, 5 hits, no errors. Going into the top half of the 5th inning, Cleveland leading Boston by a score of 2-1. And as the Indians come to bat, they come up with the top of the order. Dale Mitchell, Allie Clarke, and Lou Boudreau. Dale Mitchell fouled out to third and flied to left. Left-hand batter. Outfield playing him toward left. A big hole in the outfield is in right center, actually. Left-hander Warren Spahn throws. Mitchell looks at a hook that's over for a called strike. Marv Rickard in left. Mike McCormick in center. Here's your pitch. Mitchell swings and lines one over the head of Al Dark out in the left center. It's in there for a base hit. Taken on the hop out there by Marv Rickard. Fires his throw into Dark, who moves over to cover second. Holding first, after taking his turn, is Dale Mitchell with his first World Series hit. Dale Mitchell leading off, lines a single to left, and that brings up Allie Clarke, who struck out and grounded to third. Bats him right-handed. Outfield moves around toward left now. They play him to pull. Warren Spahn with the stretch, takes the runner. Here's the pitch. Allie Clarke shortens up, does not bunt, however, takes an outside fastball, and the count is 1-0. He bluffed a bunt. Spahn chewing on gum rather viciously, now ready. There's a throw to first base, but not in time. Mitchell gets back. Spahn's got a pretty good motion at first base, as has most left-handers. Spahn again ready with the stretch. Mitchell with the short lead off first base. Here's the pitch into the plate. Clarke takes inside and had to do a little rope skipping to avoid being hit by that ball that swept way in on him, as again he slid his hands up on the bat in bunting position, but of course did not bunt, and the count now is 2 balls, no strikes. Time call for a moment. Eddie Stanky decides to move in from second base and talk to Warren Spahn. Little Eddie, who's a spark plug, says something to Spahn and now trots back out to his second base position. Red Barrett is throwing the bullpen out there for the Boston Braves. Now we're ready to resume play. Clarke with that bat cocked. A stretch by Spahn. There's a throw to first base. Not in time. Earl Torgerson takes the ball, returns it now to Spahn. Mitchell watching the pitcher very closely. Score 2-1, favor of Cleveland, top of the 5th inning. Mitchell on first base, nobody down. There's another throw to first base. Not in time. There've been quite a number of attempts in this series thus far to pick runners off. Again, Spahn is set. Here's the pitch. Clarke bunts down the first baseline. Torgerson up for the ball. Plays it to Stanky, covering first for the out. A perfect sacrifice, moving Mitchell down to second. Clarke sacrifices and is out. Torgerson to Stanky, who covered first. That brings to the plate Lou Boudreau. Lou grounded to third and then doubled to right. Double to right in the 4th inning to spark the Indians to their 2 runs and their 2-1 lead. Warren Spahn throws to Lou, who takes a fastball high, ball 1. Boudreau's double, followed by Gordon's single, and then a single by Doby, gave the Indians their 2 in the 4th after the Braves had picked up one in the first inning to lead 1-0 to that point. All right, Spahn sets, looks back at second. Here's your pitch. Boudreau swings and lifts a high foul pop-up back of first base. Torgerson going for it. He can't get it. The ball is out of play. Going into the lower stands in behind the Cleveland dugout. And, of course, there's the usual scramble for a World Series souvenir. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out. Top half of the 5th inning, second game of the World Series. The Braves won the first one, as you know, 1-0 yesterday, as Johnny Sain's 4-hitter beats Bob Feller's 2-hitter. Warren Spahn ready. Throws. Lou Boudreau takes. Slow curve that's high. Ball 2. 2 balls, 1 strike. This still, of course, is anybody's ball game. Long way to go yet. Jimmy Britt's getting all oiled up to tell you what's going to happen the rest of the way in a little while. Warren Spahn delivers. Lou Boudreau takes outside. Fastball, ball 3. Spahn trying to get the corners on Lou, one of the great hitters of the year. Hit .355, runner-up to Ted Williams for the American League batting crown. Now Spahn set for the 3-1 pitch. Takes his stretch. Checks his runner. Mitchell leading off second. A look back. A look into the plate. Here's the pitch. Boudreau swings and hits it right back through the middle, out over second into center for the base hit. Mitchell cuts third on his way in to score. As the ball is fielded by Mike McCormick, throws into second. Boudreau holds it first with a clutch single right back through the middle. The ball went right through the legs of Warren Spahn. It was well tagged. Spahn tried to close his legs on it with his glove, too, trying to keep that ball from getting through, but couldn't. And time's been called as Billy Southworth emerges from the Boston Braves dugout to go out to the mound to talk to Warren. So Lou Boudreau singles to center to drive in Dale Mitchell, and the Indians lead 3-1. Generally, when Billy Southworth takes that walk out of the dugout to the mound, he wants a new pitcher. And that's what he's going to do now. Generally, when Billy runs out to the mound, he just wants to talk to the pitcher. But when he walks out slowly, that means he's going to bring in a new one. So we're going to have a new pitcher, and Warren Spahn, who wanted so badly to win this game, not only for the Boston Braves, but for his 6-day-old youngster, unable to go the distance today, and thus he leaves the ball game after having worked. Let's listen to the round of applause for Warren Spahn. after having worked 4 and 1/3 innings, and after having given up 6 hits, and so far 3 runs, he being responsible for Lou Boudreau should Lou score, Warren Spahn leaves the hill and will be succeeded by Red Barrett. Red Barrett, the right-hander, who won 7 and lost 8 this year for the Boston Braves. Red's coming on to see if he can put out the Indians' little fire that they've started in the Braves' wigwam. Barrett, a right-hander. Call him Red. The simple reason he's red-headed. So he's taking his warm-up pitches. And the first man he'll have to face will be Joe Gordon. It's a 3-1 ball game in favor of Cleveland. Charlie Red Barrett, he was quite a likable fella, quite an entertainer off the field. He's the team's crooner. Came close to pitching a no-hitter a couple of years ago against the Philadelphia Phils back in 1946. Del Ennis got the only hit off of him in the 8th inning, and no other batsman reached base on him. He's had his great moments, and there have been times when he hasn't had it. And so we're ready to continue action now as Red Barrett, chunky right-hander, is all set to pitch to Joe Gordon. The stretch, the pitch. There goes Lou. The hit and run is on. Gordon hits a grounder to Torgerson, who grabs it, steps on first. No chance to try for the double play, and Gordon is out. On the very first pitch, Lou Boudreau put on the hit and run. Joe Gordon had to swing at a bad pitch. It was low outside, and all he did was sort of half throw his bat at the ball because Boudreau was running. And Gordon is out, Torgerson unassisted. Joe had grounded to short and singled to left previously. So they're 2 down now, and the batter, Kenny Keltner. That puts Lou Boudreau in scoring position. Barrett delivers. Keltner takes fastball over for a called strike. And now Bill Boiselle from 96, South Carolina, is out in the bullpen warming up for Boston. Keltner flied to left and fouled out to left in his 2 previous appearances today. It's a 3-1 ball game, favor of Cleveland. Top of the 5th inning, 2 down. Barrett throws. Keltner swings and sends a ground ball to third. There is Elliott up with the ball, throws on over to Torgerson. Keltner is out, and Red Barrett came in and really put out the fire. For Cleveland in the 5th inning, 1 run, 2 hits, no Braves errors, 1 man left on for Cleveland. And at the end of 4.5 innings, the score, Cleveland 3, the Braves 1. To safeguard you against harmful facial bacteria, Gillette shaving cream, both lather and brushless, now contains K34, the remarkable new facial antiseptic. Developed after years of research, K34 is the only safe skin germicide known that remains fully effective when combined with shaving soap or cream. Regular use of Gillette shaving cream containing K34 destroys from 85 to 99% of the bacteria on your face and checks the growth of germs thereafter. Thus, when you shave with Gillette brushless or Gillette lather, your face is the cleanest a man can have. By that, we mean it's surgically clean, far cleaner than scrubbing with ordinary soap and water could make it. Odorless, colorless, and non-irritating, K34 is exclusive with Gillette. So for extra shaving comfort plus the cleanest face ever, use Gillette shaving cream, lather or brushless with K34 a quarter. And now, ladies and gentlemen, going into the last half of the 5th inning, it's with a great deal of pleasure I present to you my colleague on this World Series broadcast, the man who broadcast American and National League games throughout the year and through many years, Jim Britt.
Thank you, Mel. Good afternoon, everyone, again. Al Dark is the batter. He reached once on an error and scored the unearned Boston run, and then in the 3rd inning, he singled to left. Lemon delivers, and the first pitch is fouled over toward the Cleveland dugout for strike 1. The Cleveland Indians were blanked for 12 full innings by Sain and Spahn, but when finally they broke through the veil, they came up with 2 runs in the 4th inning to take a 2-1 lead, and then they added another tally in the 5th. And the Boston Braves run is an unearned run that was set up by Joe Gordon's error. Dark stands with his feet wide apart. He's reached base both times against Bob Lemon this afternoon. Bob winds up. He delivers. Foul ball on a line back into the screen, and the count is strike two. Yesterday, the folks of Lake Charles, Louisiana, which is Dark's hometown, presented him with an engraved scroll and a silver service. And today he acknowledged his appreciation by scoring the first run and then banging out his first hit of the series. He has 1 out of 6, and his season's average was .322. The outfield is just a step to the left. The wind is still blowing in today from right field, which makes it tough on the left-handers. The windup by Lemon. The pitch. Foul tip just out of the reach of Jim Hegan. 2 strikes the count. Hegan is a catcher built along the general physical lines of Bill Dickey. He's very competent, has a fine throwing arm, and he commands respect when you just watch him in action. 2 strikes the count. Billy Southworth coaching at third base. Freddie Fitzsimmons, the former Brooklyn pitcher, coaching at first. Lemon delivers, and there's a foul ball that drifts out of play. The count is 2 strikes. A little earlier, you wouldn't have given a nickel for the chances that this ball game would go the limit because of the mist and the rain that fell preceding it. It's another sellout crowd, and there's a good prospect that this year's World Series shares will hit an all-time baseball high. No one out in the 5th inning, no one on. The Braves trailing by a score of 1-3. Lemon gets set again. Here it is, and it's strike 3 swinging as he sidearms a curveball. That's Lemon's 3rd strikeout. He has had 6 chances so far, including several assists, and he has also struck out 3. That means he's figured in 9 of the 13 outs so far. Earl Torgeson has 1 hit and 2 trips. It gives him 1 out of 4 officially. And after reaching second, you'll recall he was picked off in the very first inning. He's a left-handed batter. He was set to bunt, but it's a called strike. Lou Boudreau hollered, "Look out," and Ken Keltner rushed toward the plate to defend against it. It's another good ball game. Not as tight a pitcher's duel as yesterday's 1-0 victory, St. over Feller. Cleveland leading 3-1. Lemon pitches, and there's a foul bunt. Torgeson tried to drag a bunt down the first base line, succeeded only in tipping it back against the screen, and the count is 2 strikes. That Cleveland pickoff play, by the way, Feller to Boudreau, Lemon to Boudreau, whomever the pitcher happens to be, is one of the most scientific and brilliantly executed any of us have ever seen. Yesterday it failed by a whisker. Today it worked, and it cost the Boston Braves a run as it developed. Lemon throws, and there's a ground ball that bounces to Robinson. Lemon is covering, and he takes it, and there's another put out for the young man. The play went 3-1. First baseman to the pitcher, and 2 men have been retired in the 5th inning. The last 4 men have gone down in order against Bob Lemon, and he still is nursing very carefully that 3-1 lead. Bob Elliott will be the batter. Bob has 1 hit and 2 trips. He drove in the first and only Boston run of the game when, with Dark on third and Torgeson on first base, he singled to left in the first inning. He was the most valuable player of the National League a season ago. He's a right-hander. The pitch, ball, a little high. 1 ball, no strikes. Bill Summers calls the balls and strikes very emphatically, and that's a great aid to broadcasting and reporting as well. The outfield is set to the left. Third baseman Ken Keltner, out of respect to Elliott's full power, is backed up, back of third base. Lemon winds up, fires 1, a little high, 2-0. 2 balls, no strikes. Yesterday, Cleveland left 6 base runners. The Braves left only 4. So far today, the Braves have left 6, and Cleveland has left only 5 stranded. 2-0 the count on Elliott. The pitch, strike called, a Lemon fastball. He's been throwing a fastball when he needs it. Johnny Sain, on the other hand, uses his fastball as a waste pitch. The curveball is his stock in trade. Warren Spahn started today, was derricked in the 5th inning in favor of Red Barrett. And all 3 Cleveland runs were charged to lefty. 2-1. Elliott stepped out of the batter's box. He may have checked the count with umpire Bill Summers. The shadows are just beginning to etch their way out toward the pitcher's mound. Here comes the pitch, and there's a high foul ball back of the plate. Jim Hegan is coming over after it, should get it, and he takes it to retire the side. A foul ball back of the plate as Lemon, for the first time in the game, retires the Boston Braves in 1-2-3 order. That is their first hitless inning. They collected 2 hits in the first, 1 in the second, 1 each in the third and fourth. So the Boston Braves have just 1 run, 5 hits, as against 3 runs, 6 hits for the Cleveland Indians. And now the game moves into the first half of the 6th inning with Larry Doby, Eddie Robinson, and Jim Hegan scheduled to come up. Doby has a perfect day. He doubled to left center, single to right, and has a total of 3 hits and 6 trips for a series batting mark of 500. And he looks every inch a baseball player. He's had a good season. We've just been checking and find that the record book credit Lon Warnicki with 8 assists in a World Series game in 1935, Nick Altrock with 8 in 1906. But the combination of outs, putouts, and assists will require further checking, and the heads of the 2 league service bureaus are cooperating very well so that we will have the information shortly. So far, however, Bob Lemon has figured in 7 different plays. That's a combination of putouts and assists. The first base bag is going to be replaced. There's a strong wind blowing out here at Braves Field, and if there are any extraneous sounds coming over the microphone other than my voice and Mel's and the roar of the crowd, the wind explains it. At the moment, the game is being delayed, and Red Barrett will get an opportunity to throw 5 or 6 extra pitches by way of warm-up because the first base bag came loose. Bill Summers and Bill Stewart called attention to it, and it is being replaced. Cold as the day is, a couple of the Harvard crews are out on the River Charles, sculling their way up and down. It is another sellout crowd. The first base bag will get into place, and that gives me an opportunity to describe the scoring so far in the event you joined our network late. In the first inning, Dark reached on an error by Gordon. Torgerson singled him to third, and Elliott scored him with a single. But in the 4th inning, Boudreau's double, Gordon single, a throw-in, Doby single, and then a single by Mitchell in the 5th inning, plus a sacrifice and Boudreau's single, accounted for 3 Cleveland runs and drove out Warren Spahn. Red Barrett pitched only to Gordon and Keltner in the 5th inning, retiring Gordon unassisted on a play to first base and getting Keltner on an easy roller to third baseman Bob Elliott. Now he faces one of the stars of the game, Larry Doby, the Cleveland center fielder, who has a double to left center and a single to right. He has 2 hits today. Here's the first pitch to him, and it's a called strike on a left-hander. Larry is playing with a bandage on his left thumb. I noticed that Lou Boudreau and Allie Clarke have also been wearing them. Bill Salkeld started to go out to the mound for a conference with Barrett. Barrett came halfway in to meet him. The outfield is set to the left. Bill McKechnie is doing the coaching at third base, and Mel Harder is doing the coaching at first. Fred Clarke and Tris Speaker are both here. They posed for photographers before the game got underway. Barrett gets set, delivers, swing and a miss. He threw a slider that broke down around the ankles, and Doby went for it and missed it by a substantial margin. 2 strikes the count. Barrett throws slow stuff. His fastball is no fireball, but he's always up around the plate. He winds up, delivers, and throws one low in the dirt, but Doby stayed away from it, and the count is 1 ball, 2 strikes. After the game, of course, the special trains and the special flights will head for Cleveland Municipal Stadium. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Strike 3. He fooled him with a ball that dropped down in the dirt, and that is the 2nd Cleveland strikeout. Barrett has retired 3 men in a row in his relief role, and possibly Cleveland is puzzled, for the moment at least, by the sudden switch from Spahn's fastball and his wide-breaking curveballs and Barrett's slow stuff. So there's 1 man out as Cleveland leads 3-1 in the first half of the 6th inning. The Indians rallying strongly today to go out in front after having trailed by a run. Robinson has walked and flied to left. He's a left-hander, and he lets a slow floater come inside for ball 1. Barrett seems to think that one should have been a strike. It was a fluffy pitch. Not a blooper like Rip Sewell's, low but slow. He delivers, And there's a ground foul down the first base line. Robinson very nearly got an extra base wallop. It was just 2 or 3 feet outside the first base bag, and one of the fans out in the field boxes all but fell out trying to take home a souvenir. 1 man out in the Cleveland 6th inning. Barrett, incidentally, is one of the fastest working pitchers in the business. He pitches on the theory that he has to do it sometime. Why not immediately? He winds up, delivers, and there's a slow ball outside. Salkeld had to get up from his knees to field it, and the count is 2-1. Robinson has no hits in 4 official series trips. He did reach base in the 2nd inning with a base on balls, and in the 4th, he flied to Rickard in left. Here it comes. There's a drive back through the middle for the first hit off Barrett, and the 7th Cleveland hit of the game, a single. Mike McCormick held Eddie Robinson to a single, and the Indians have another base runner. They collected 1 hit in the 2nd. They got 3 hits and 2 runs in the 4th, 2 hits and 1 run in the 5th inning. And now, with the 7th hit of the ball game, Robinson is on first, and the capable Cleveland catcher Jim Hegan is up. He had 1 out of 3 yesterday, a season's mark of 248. His first time up today, he flied to center, and the last time he was at bat, he was given an intentional pass. He's a big right-hander. Ball low. Bill Voiselle, who wears the number 96, the name of his birthplace, 96 South Carolina, a right-hander, is warming up for the Braves. Robinson leads off base. There's the pitch. There's the drive to right field. It chases Holmes back. It's well tagged, and he takes it. And here is Robinson, a base and a half off the bag, and he's doubled out. Holmes to Torgerson. A magnificent running catch by Tommy Holmes found Robinson 25 feet around second base, and Holmes had thrown to Torgerson, gave Torgerson a chance to run the last 20 feet to first base for the first double play of the ball game. So it's no runs, 1 hit, no errors, none left, and that is by all odds the standout fielding play of the series. The score is Cleveland 3, Boston Braves 1. Johnny Mize of the New York Giants is sitting at my elbow. Johnny, tell us what you like after a hard game.
What most baseball players go for, Jim? A shower and a shave.
Well, you use a Gillette Superspeed razor. I'd like the fans to hear what you told me about it.
I said it can't be matched, and it can't. It's the swellest shaving razor I've ever used, and the most convenient, too.
You've used Gillette razors before.
Oh, yes, for years. But this one is something to write home about.
Men, with the modern Gillette Superspeed razor, you change blades instantly and enjoy the slickest shave a man can have. You get the razor plus a 10-blade Gillette dispenser, a big $1.50 value for only $1. Buy one and see what modern shaving satisfaction is like. That play of Holmes has them still talking. The wind helped him. Had it not been blowing in so strongly, it would have been well over his head and could conceivably have been a home run over the right field wall, which is an unusual accomplishment for a right-hand batter. The first man up for the Boston Braves will be Marv Rickard in the last half of the 6th inning. He struck out in the 1st, and then Lemon retired him on a grounder in the 3rd. Yesterday, he had 1 out of 3, so he has 1 out of 5. He's a left-hander. Lemon pitches to him, and there goes a high infield pop-up being called for by second baseman Joe Gordon, but it drifts over toward Boudreau, and Boudreau takes it halfway between the mound and second. An easy chance. It started to the right of second base, and when the wind carried it over, Boudreau decided he could better field it. So now Lemon has retired 7 straight men, following Mike McCormick's single to left field in the 4th inning. Bill Salkeld has had a perfect afternoon with a single to right in the 2nd inning and a base on balls in the 4th. Lou Boudreau is using sunglasses. That may have been one reason why he thought he could better have fielded the ball. Salkeld is a left-handed batter. Lemon throws it. Outside, ball 1. For the past month, Lemon has had his troubles. He got up to 20 victories and was regarded as a sure cinch to win 22 or possibly 23, but he got his comeuppance in about his last 4 starts. Today, he seems to have regained the form that carried him to his 20 wins, and since the 4th inning, when he wobbled a little, after McCormick's single, he's retired 6 men in a row with only 1 ball hit to the outfield. He throws high for ball 2, 2-0. 2 balls, no strikes. One man out. No one on base. Mike McCormick, the on-deck batter. Lemon delivers low for 3-0. What Mel Allen said a while back about Bill Salkeld seemingly having the Indian sign on the Indians would seem to be true. He got the base on balls that was translated into yesterday's only run after Macy ran for him. Today he singled to right, and he has walked. In 2 official series trips, he has 1 hit. Here's the windup and the pitch. Strike call, a fastball, letter high. 3 balls, 1 strike. It's turned into a perfect baseball day. It's a slower game than yesterday's. The windup, the pitch, ball 4. That's Salkeld's second base on balls and the 3rd walk that has been dished out by Bob Lemon. It's the 4th time Salkeld has reached base. Mike McCormick comes up. His first time at bat, in an attempt to sacrifice, he popped one that Lemon fielded. And his last time up, he bounced a single between Ken Keltner and Lou Boudreau. A ball that he hit right down into the dirt and went into the hole and left. Mike has 1 hit in 4 official series trips. He's a right-hander, and he's played in World Series competition before with Cincinnati. 1 man out. The pitch. Foul tip. Strike 1. Hegan dropped it right down in front of him, was quick to pick it up. Several of the Indians are on their feet down in the dugout, and only 1 or 2 of the Braves are up on the top step as Bill Voiselle continues to bear down. The Cleveland bullpen is hidden by the right center field wall. 1 strike to count. The pitch. There's a drive that goes to center field, and it's in there for a base hit. Salkeld goes to second and holds up as McCormick loops the line drive right out over second base. Doby fielded the ball, and that's Mike's second hit of the series. Eddie Stanky will come up. He got a base on balls his first time at bat, and his second time with runners on first and second and none out. He sacrificed as ordered, but he has no hits in 2 official series trips. Ed Kleiman is given the warm-up sign again. And again, for the second time in as many days, Phil Macy is going into the game to run for Salkeld. Salkeld has a bad knee. So Billy Southworth is very anxious that there be no such handicap attached to the second Braves run if it should score. Ed Kleiman and Satchel Paige are warming up for Cleveland. The word has come. Stanky is the batter. He has no hits in no official trips. Outside, ball 1. Officially, he hasn't been at bat. He walked and sacrificed. There's a pinch hitter getting set to come out of the Boston Braves dugout. In the event Stanky should get on, maybe even if he should not. This is the last of the 6th, and Cleveland leads 3-1. Lemon operates from a stretch. Here's the pitch. There's a ground ball, and it goes to Boudreau. The only throw is to second, and it's a double play. Stanky, injured ankle, couldn't go down. Boudreau took it in the hole, fired it to Gordon, and then a quick throw just did get Stanky. So that retires the Braves with no runs, 1 hit, no errors, and only 1 runner left. And at the end of 6 innings, Cleveland leads by a score of 3-1 as the timely double play comes up. For an instant, it seemed that no double play would be possible, but I lost sight for the moment of the fact that Stanky is very much slower than he was prior to his fractured ankle in July. The new catcher will be Phil Macy, and Red Barrett will continue on the mound with Cleveland leading 3-1 at the end of the 6th. Now we pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Queen for a Day, usually presented over WOR at 2 o'clock, will be heard today immediately following the World Series baseball game. This is WOR, New York.
This is Jim Britt back at Braves Field. We're going into the first half of the 7th inning. Cleveland clings to its 3-1 lead. This is the Braves' day, apparently, to fail in the clutch because they've had several good scoring opportunities. There were runners on first and second with only 1 out in the 2nd inning, and nothing came of it. In the 4th inning, there were runners on first and second with none out, runners on second and third with 1 out, and they failed to score. And they had another good opportunity in that, the 6th, when with runners on first and second and 1 out, Stanky grounded into a Boudreau to Gordon to Robinson double play. The record for chances by a pitcher was established by Nick Altrock in 1906, and it is 11. So Bob Lemon is in no immediate prospect of shading that mark unless he should get several more chances in the remaining 3 frames. Lemon is at bat in the first half of the 7th. He had an earned run average of 2.70 during the season, 10 shutouts. He's hitless in this game in 2 trips. There's a high fly ball toward right field. Tommy Holmes running under it near the line, and he makes the catch in fair territory just about 100 feet beyond first base. Lemon flies to right field, so that reduces him to none and 3 for the afternoon. But his pitching has been more than adequate. As a matter of fact, he hasn't yielded an earned run. He has a lead of 3-1 as Dale Mitchell steps up. Dale has 1 out of 3 today. He has 1 out of 7 in the series, and in the 5th inning, he singled to left, was sacrificed, and he scored. He's a left-hander. He waits. Strike called. Third baseman Bob Elliott broke for the plate in the event of a bunt, because with a speedy left-hander like Mitchell, there's always a prospect of it. The outfield is a little to the left. Here's the windup. The pitch. Inside, and that broke by Macy. A new ball is given to him as it rolls to the backstop. The count is 1 ball, 1 strike. Bill McKechnie and Mel Harder are doing the coaching for the Indians at 3rd and 1st. Bill Voiselle is still warming up, which would seem to indicate a Braves pinch hitter in the last half of the inning. Here's the pitch. There's a ground ball that goes to the right of second. Stanky goes over fast, swirls, and gets him. Nice play by Eddie. He was fast enough to get over and take a base hit away from Mitchell. It seemed about to go through the hole into right field. So Mitchell now has 1 hit in 4 trips and 1 in 8 in the series. Allie Clarke is the batter. He had a season's average of .310. He's a right-hander who saw some service last year in the series for the Yankees, and today he has struck out, grounded out, and sacrificed. Barrett pitches. Swing and a miss. That was a fastball, just between the belt and the knees. 2 men are out in the 7th. Cleveland leading 3-1. Here it comes. There's a ground ball accidentally hit to shortstop. Dark fumbles it, picks it up, can't make the play, and draws an error. Clarke was trying to get his bat out of the way of an inside pitch, and the ball struck him. Struck his bat, so he reaches on an error. That's the 3rd Braves error of the series and the 1st Braves error of the game. Dark was a little over-anxious, couldn't find the handle on the ball, kicked it around a little, and finally, when he did get it from behind his legs, it was too late to risk a throw to first. Nels Potter, the former Philadelphia A's hurler, is warming up now. Bill Voiselle has ceased his warm-up activity. Potter has pitched great baseball for the Braves in the clutch this season. Barrett looks out at the outfield. He wants Tommy Holmes to move in a little as Lou Boudreau is up. Boudreau has a double and a single in 3 trips. Strike called. Lou started the 2-run rally in the 4th inning, scored the first Cleveland run to tie the score, and then drove in the 3rd Cleveland run. He's having a good day. A throw to first. Clarke back safely. 1 strike to count. The 7th inning of the 2nd World Series game. The pitch. There's a ground ball that goes to Elliott. Elliott boots the ball, and there are runners on 1st and 2nd. It struck him in the leg. He never did get his glove on it. There are runners on 1st and 2nd, and it is scored an error. Runners on 1st and 2nd as the result of successive errors by Dark and by Elliott. Barrett's support is shaking. There are runners on 1st and 2nd, and Flash Gordon comes up. He got a hit in the 4th inning, and with Doby became one of the Indians to collect 3 hits. Doby was the first to get 3 hits in the series. Gordon was the second. Joe has 1 out of 3. 2 out of 7 for the series. 2 men are out. Strike called. 1 strike to count, 2 men out. The outfield moves to the left. Barrett is hard to fluster. He wants Tommy Holmes to back up a little in right field, and Tommy obliges a step or 2. The pitch. Outside, 1-1. Barrett likes to position his own outfielders, and Southworth permits him to do it. He's the workhorse of the Braves. 1 ball, 1 strike. The pitch. There's a ground ball that goes to Elliott. Elliott elects to make the throw to first base to retire the side. Despite the 2 errors, there was no score for Cleveland. No runs, no hits, 2 Boston errors, 2 runners left, And as we enter the stretch half of the seventh, Cleveland still leads. The score is Cleveland 3, Boston 1. As Johnny Mize of the New York Giants put it this afternoon, the Gillette Superspeed razor is something to write home about. It's the swellest shaving razor and the handiest you ever laid against your face. Men, this razor has a notched positioning bar for use with the Gillette dispenser. Zip out a blade, hook it in place, twist, and you're ready to shave. To clean, simply loosen the razor, rinse, and shake. Here's a precision instrument, beautifully designed and superbly made. There's nothing to take apart or fit together, nothing to jam or clog. No, you don't need a locksmith to make this razor click. Buy a Gillette Superspeed razor. You get it, plus a 10-blade Gillette dispenser, a regular $1.50 value, for only $1. Yes, and you get shaves that are shaves. Smooth, good-looking shaves that feel great. So far in 7 innings, Cleveland has a total of 3 runs, 7 hits. The Braves have made 2 errors. The Indians have made only 1, and the Indians have left 7 men on. Buck McCormick is going to be the leadoff batter in the 7th inning. He will be batting for Red Barrett. The attendance, the official attendance, has just been given as 39,633, which makes it slightly over 80,000 for the 2 games here at Braves Field. Buck McCormick, formerly of the Cincinnati Reds, will lead off for Red Barrett. His batting average during the season was .249, and he played first base against left-handed opposition. The pitch, ball 1, low outside. Buck is one of the more popular members of the Braves squad. He started his baseball in New York City catching on one side of the street, slants that were tossed to him by a pitcher who stood on the other side. 1 ball the count. Lemon winds up, delivers, swing and a miss, fastball. 1-1 the count. Buck started out as a catcher, then decided it would be a little safer to get out there at first base. At this time yesterday, the game had just ended. It was an hour and 42-minute contest. This one today is in the last half of the 7th inning, with Cleveland leading by a score of 3-1. And where yesterday's game produced a total of 6 hits, we have seen 13 in this one. McCormick is back in the batter's box. He stands with his feet close together, a closed stance. Lemon winds up. He fires one, and there's another swing and a miss on a fastball in on the 5th. 1-2. That one broke low, and it was pitched tight. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Nels Potter is doing some warming up for the Braves out on the bullpen. The outfield is set to the left. Lemon delivers. Strike 3, swinging. He threw a sidearm curveball. That's the 4th Braves strikeout. Leadoff batter Tommy Holmes, who has been handcuffed today, in contrast to his game-winning hit of yesterday, will be the 2nd batter. He's applauded, probably because the fans remember that clutch catch he made of Higgins' line drive in right field and turned it into a double play that caught Robinson far off the bag. 1 out. Tommy has none in 3. Fastball outside. Ball 1. Holmes is one of the more difficult players to strike out in baseball. A couple of times he has been the lowest strikeout victim in a National League season. They play him to the left. There's a fly ball to short left center field. Doby coming in on the dead run. Boudreau going back. Boudreau takes it. Boudreau, Mitchell, Gordon, and center fielder Larry Doby were all in a little ring around a rosy group as Boudreau took it for the 2nd out. Alvin Dark, the Brave shortstop, comes up. The Lake Charles youngster reached on an error in the 1st and scored the only Braves run. In the 3rd inning, he singled to left, and then he was a strikeout victim in the 5th. So Lemon has 2 men out. He's pitched excellent ball since that 2nd inning. The pitch. Ball 1. He was in trouble several times during the game. There were 2 runners aboard in the 1st, 2nd, 4th, 6th. But he has pitched himself out of every hole, and the run is unearned. The pitch. A fastball outside, and Bill Summers calls that one ball 2, 2-0. Jim Hegan throws it back to the pitcher and goes back to his position. Earl Torgerson is in the on-deck area. There isn't any circle here at Braves Field, as in some parks. Lemon turns his back to the plate, uses the rosin bag. It's a chill day, especially in the shade, and that's about half the field. 2 balls, no strikes. The pitch. There's a fly ball to right field. Clarke is back after it. He comes in and takes it. And that's a 1-2-3 inning. The second time in the ball game, the 3 Braves have been up and down in order. No runs, no hits, no errors, none left. As Bob Lemon bears down to try to hang on to this 3-1 lead, which he now will carry into the first half of the 8th inning. The new Boston Braves pitcher is going to be Nels Potter. In contrast to Johnny Sain's 4-hit shutout of yesterday, the Braves today started off with lefty Warren Spahn, against whom all 3 runs were charged, and they are all earned runs, by the way. Red Barrett relieved in the 5th inning, pitched effectively, yielding a hit. And Nels Potter will now come in to be the pitcher. Potter has a record of 5-2 for the Boston Braves, an overall record this season of 8-5, pitching for the St. Louis Browns, the Philadelphia A's, and the Boston National Leaguers. He has a very effective screwball, one of baseball's great pitches. And he's tremendously popular hereabouts. The fans still recall that in the 12th inning down at Philadelphia in one of the late season games, he went in with the bases loaded and no one out, struck out the next 2 batters, forced the next one to pop up, and then got credit for a 13-inning triumph. It was one of the niftiest bits of relief pitching baseball produced all season. In the 8th inning, Keltner, Doby, and Robinson will be the batters. Keltner hasn't displayed the power that helped him and the Cleveland Indians to their playoff championship victory over the Boston Red Sox. Ken has 1 hit in the series in 7 trips, none in 3 today. During the regular season, he missed the 300 mark by 1 point. He'll be followed by Doby, who has been an effective hit producer today and who drove in a run. The runs in this game for the Indians have been driven in successively by Gordon, Doby, and Boudreau. Potter has finished his warm-up. There's the long throw down to second base. Umpire Bill Summers is dusting off home plate, and the 8th inning of the second World Series game of 1948 will get underway. Cleveland, 3 runs, 7 hits, 1 error. The Braves, 1 run, 6 hits, 2 errors. The Cleveland error set the stage for an unearned run the Braves were not damaging. Potter winds up. He pitches, and the first one is close to Keltner. Ball 1. That spun him out of the batter's box. He reaches down to rub some dirt into his hands, and he goes back in to take another toe hold. They play him deep to the left. Potter takes his windup. There's a ground ball that goes by the mound to the left. Al Dark is up with it, throws over to first base for the out. Torgerson one-hands it, and Potter has retired Keltner on a grounder to short. Larry Doby comes up. His double in the second inning was a thing of beauty. It was one of those hard, low-line smashes directly between McCormick, the center fielder, and Rickard in left, and only McCormick's speed got him in front of the ball before Doby was able to take more than 2 bases. Doby has a double, a single, and a strikeout. Potter delivers. Low, ball 1. Potter's right-handed screwball acts like a left-handed curveball against a left-handed batter. 1 ball, no strikes. The pitch, outside. That one broke down in the dirt, and the count is 2-0. Doby stayed away from it. The Braves have a lead of 1 game in the series. The Indians have a lead of 3-1 in this one. Here's the windup. Outside, ball 3. Potter has missed the plate with 3 successive pitches. The outfield is playing Doby just a little to the left of center. The 3-0 pitch. Coming up. Strike called. He threaded the needle with a fastball. Doby took it. The count is 3-1, and Larry looks down at third base coach Bill McKechnie for his instructions. The Indians have a 2-run lead, which they have in the 8th inning. Here it is. Swing and a miss. That was a pitch that missed the outside. Doby went after it. The count now is 3-2, and Larry is rubbing some dirt into his hands, as in the on-deck area, first baseman Eddie Robinson is limbering up. 3 balls, 2 strikes the count. Here's the payoff pitch. Strike 3, swinging. Potter struck out Doby. That's Larry's second strikeout, but he has 2 previous hits for a total of 3 bases. 2 men out for the Indians in the 8th inning. And Eddie Robinson, the first baseman, comes up. He walked in the 2nd. He flied to left fielder Marv Rickard in the 4th inning. And in the 6th inning, he singled through the middle. But then, on that circus catch by Tommy Holmes at the expense of Jim Hegan, Robinson, who was running at the time, was about 25 or 30 feet beyond second base and was easily doubled up. He's a big left-hander. The pitch, swing and a miss. Fastball. That was letter high. The count is 1 strike. The outfield straight away and deep. First baseman Earl Torgeson is almost on the edge of the right field grass. Potter's getting his sign from Phil Macy, the new catcher. The pitch, swing and a miss. They're not even coming close to Potter's delivery. Doby and Robinson have missed a couple of those screwballs and fastballs served up by a good 1.5 feet. 2 strikes the count. It's been some time since these players have seen Potter because he was released by the A's some time back. Here it comes. There's a ground ball hit hard to Stanky. Stanky throws to first, and Robinson goes out 4-3, second to first, as Potter retires the Indians in 1-2-3 order in the 8th. At the end of 7.5 innings of play, the score is Cleveland 3, Boston Braves 1. Believe me, folks, 49 cents goes a long way when you exchange it for a Gillette Tech razor and 5 Gillette blue blades. Yes, it buys a world of shaving comfort and satisfaction. You see, the Gillette Tech razor and Gillette blue blade are made for each other, so they fit exactly and work together perfectly. The Gillette Tech sets up whiskers as a barber does and sails through them like a breeze. A non-skid thread protects you from nicks and cuts. The blade is held rigidly. There's no edge vibration whatever. Also, the razor rinses clean instantly, can't clog or gum up. To enjoy smooth, refreshing shaves, ask for the modern Gillette Tech razor and 5 Gillette blue blades. You pay only 49 cents and get a whale of a value. In right field for Cleveland, as a defensive measure, presumably, Bob Kennedy has been sent. Kennedy is the owner of one of the best throwing arms in baseball, and that is probably the reason for his assignment by manager Lou Boudreau. He went to the Cleveland Indians in a trade from the Chicago White Sox in the same deal that involved pitcher Alan Gettle. Earl Torgeson will lead off for the Braves in the last half of the 8th inning in an effort to try to get to Bob Lemon. Lemon has been pitching great baseball. The only run against him in this contest is an unearned run, and he has a lead of 3-1. Torgeson singled in the first inning and then was picked off second. Strike called. As it developed, that pickoff saved Cleveland a run because it set the stage for the 3rd out when Rickert fanned and Salkeld opened the second with a single. A single that probably would have scored Torgeson had he been on second base. Lemon pitches. Ball 1-1, a fastball outside. The Cleveland outfield now is Bob Kennedy in right field, Larry Doby in center field, Dale Mitchell in left field. 1 ball, 1 strike. Torgeson stands up in the batter's box. The outfield is a little to the right. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. That was that sinker ball thrown by Lemon that broke low, and Torge swung over the top of it. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Billy Southworth is still doing the coaching at third, and Freddie Fitzsimmons is coaching at first base. Lou Boudreau calls to Kennedy, the right fielder, to move in about 2 paces. He's about 30 feet inside the line in right. The pitch, outside, 2-2. Lemon is giving the Braves nothing particularly good at which they can swing. He allowed 2 hits in only 1 inning, and it's interesting to note the Braves have not had an extra base hit in the series. Of their total of 8 hits, they have all been singles. Here's the windup. There's a drive to center for a base hit. A hard line drive. Doby stops it and holds it to 1 base. That's the first hit since Mike McCormick singled through the middle in the 6th inning. And it is the second hit for Torgerson in this game, giving him 2 out of 4 and 2 out of 6 in the series. Bob Elliott comes up. He drove in the Braves run with a single to left, right over the head of Keltner, his very first time up. Cleveland has started to warm up a couple of pitchers, Kleiman and Zoldak, I believe. 1 out of 3 Elliott has. He's a right-hander. There's the pitch to him, and it's a strike. A sidearm curveball called strike 1. That was letter high. Bob elected to take it. The Braves have the advantage of a fast base runner on first. 1 strike to count. In his first 18 attempts to steal a base this year, Torgerson succeeded. It was the 19th time that they picked him off. Lemon takes a stretch. He pitches in the dirt. It bounces in front of Hegan, but there's no base advance. Jim did well to block it. That had wild pitch written all over it, and it landed just to the left of the plate in the dirt, but Hegan blocked it with his mitt and his shin guards. He's a very courageous catcher. He handles the plate well, and he has a superb throwing arm. 1-1. Base runners seldom take liberties with his uncanny ability to throw that ball right at the second base bag. The Braves partisans are naturally stirred up over the possibility of a rally. The Braves trail Cleveland 1-3. 8th inning, none out. Torge on first. Strike called. A curveball, and he slowed up a little on Elliott. It wasn't a slow curveball, but he did change his pace. 1-2. The outfield is positioned to the left. Elliott has just the 1 hit in 6 times in the series. In this game, he is single to left, struck out, and fouled to the catcher. 1-2. Lemon is ahead of him. There's the stretch. The pitch. There's a ground ball. It goes to Gordon. Gordon throws to Boudreau. That's 1. Boudreau to first. Double play. Torgerson tried to take Boudreau out with a block. Gordon fell to his face so that manager Lou could throw the ball over his head. And it's the second Cleveland double play of the ball game. It goes 4-6 to 3, second to short to first. Gordon to Boudreau to Robinson. And that reduces the danger of a Boston rally in the 8th inning. So there are 2 men out. The 2 Cleveland double plays have come at a time when the doctor ordered. Marv Rickert, the batter, he has no hits in 3 trips. He's a left-hander. The player who was declared eligible as a result of the injury to Jeff Heath in Brooklyn. The outfield moves to the right. Here's the pitch. Strike called. 1 strike the count. 2 men out. 8th inning. As Lemon tries to secure his victory, he has a lead of 3-1. And he's pitched a very effective ball game. He winds up. The pitch. Ball 1. 1-1. That was a fastball. Lemon turns his back. 1 ball, 1 strike. It's expected that tomorrow's pitcher for Cleveland will be Gene Bearden. The outfield is set to the right. The delivery. There's a ground ball that goes to Eddie Robinson. He flips it to Lemon. Lemon steps on first for the put-out to retire the side. First base to pitcher. No runs. 1 hit. No errors. None left. Lemon has been all over the field with assists and put-outs and is threatening to approach a record. It seems doubtful that he will be able to make the grade. At the end of 8 innings of play, the score is Cleveland 3, Boston Braves 1. Lots of the players out there on the field are going to change from baseball uniforms to hunting clothes as soon as this series ends. And I guess plenty of you fans will be heading for the tall timber, too. Now, before you enter the woods this fall, paste these 4 simple rules of forest fire prevention in your hat. 1, crush out cigarette, cigar, and pipe ashes. 2, break matches in 2 after using. 3, drown all campfires, then stir and drown again. 4, know the law before using fire. 9 out of every 10 forest fires are man-made. Don't you be careless. Now we pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Your dial is set at 710, the spot for sports all year round. Your World Series station, WOR, New York.
Back at Braves Field in the first half of the ninth inning, Jim Hegan, the Cleveland catcher, will be first up. So far, Bob Lemon has had 8 chances, just 2 shy of the record. Here's the pitch to Hegan. Swing and a miss. Potter threw a curveball. Jim has flied to center. He was given an intentional pass, and then he lined into that double play. Cleveland leading 3-1, first half of the ninth inning, as the Indians battle to get back on even terms in the series. Here it comes. Swing and a miss. Screwball right in on the knuckles. This World Series, we're pleased to report, is being shortwaved to the armed forces overseas. 2 strikes the count. And all over the world rages the controversy, will it be the Cleveland Indians or the Boston Braves? The pitch. There's a ground ball that goes to shortstop. Dark fumbles it, picks it up. There's the quick throw to first base, but not in time. Hegan reaches, and it is an error. That's the 3rd Boston error of the game. It was a hard ground smash, but it was right at Dark. Hegan on first base. Bob Lemon coming up with no hits and 3 trips, and the Braves are looking for the bunt. The applause starts, and then volume is added to it. Lemon tipped his cap, stepped into the batter's box. He deserves it. He's pitched a good game of baseball, and in many respects a great game. The run not earned. Here's the pitch. Foul ball. He took a free cut at it. He didn't attempt to bunt, although third baseman Bob Elliott came in on the grass, and first baseman Earl Torgerson acts as though he intends to defend against it. Meantime, he's holding Hegan close to the bag. Nels Potter on the mound is the 3rd of the Braves pitchers today. Warren Spahn started. Fred Barrett came on the 5th, and Potter entered the game in the 8th inning. The stretch by Potter. The pitch. A missed bunt. Strike 2. Phil Macy looked at first base as though he wanted to throw down there in an attempt to try to pick Hegan off. But Stanky hadn't yet come over to cover first, and Torgerson was on his way to the plate in the event the bunt was successful. 2 strikes the count. Potter takes his stretch, delivers outside for a ball. 1 ball, 2 strikes. No one out in the 9th inning. Cleveland leading the Boston Braves by a score of 3-1. Tomorrow's activity will be in the huge lakefront stadium of Cleveland. There's a throw to first base, but Hegan was right on the bag. 1-2. Here it comes. That one just missed the outside corner, a curveball, and the count is 2-2. The Braves' fielding today has slipped. 3 errors. They've made 5 errors in the first 2 contests, but none has hurt so far in this one. The pitch. Outside. 3-2. It's something to hear Bill Summers call them. Today's crowd is just a little under yesterday's. The players' pool, however, may result in the largest World Series checks being distributed among the Braves and the Indians in this one, because of the tremendous crowds the Cleveland Municipal Stadium is capable of accommodating. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Hegan is standing right on first base. Now he takes a 2 or 3 step lead, draws a throw, but there's no tag. Satchel Paige is warming up for Cleveland. There goes Hegan, and a foul ball brings him back. Hegan went all the way over to second, touched on the bag, has to return. He was running on a 3-2 count. Lemon hit 5 home runs during the regular season and batted .286. He used to be an infielder and an outfielder. He's left-handed and has a lot of power. He's as good a hitting pitcher as you'll find. 3-2, the payoff pitch coming up again. There goes Hegan. There's a ground ball that goes to Torgerson. He has only 1 play at first base. Hegan moving to second on the out. That is as good as a sacrifice, as Torgerson gets an unassisted put out. Bobby Hogue, an apple-cheeked right-hander, is warming up for the Boston Braves. The leadoff batter, Dale Mitchell, up. He has 1 hit in this game. He scored the 3rd Cleveland run after singling to left in the 5th inning. He was bunted to second by Clarke, who then was playing right field, and manager Lou Boudreau banged a ground ball right through Spahn into center field. Potter delivers. Ball too high. Hegan has a lead of about 15 feet off second base. He lengthens it, as the situation demands. One man out in the ninth inning. Cleveland leading 3-1. Potter pitches. There's a line foul down the left field line. The signal was given by the left field foul line umpire, Babe Pinelli. One of the spectators fell out of a field box. So anxious was he to get the souvenir ball, but the groundskeeper beat him to it. 1-1. 1 ball, 1 strike. Manager Lou Boudreau yesterday predicted that Lemon would stop the Braves, and so far he has. The pitch. Strike 2, swinging. The screwball. Almost down in the dirt. 1-2. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Tomorrow's pitchers are likely to be Gene Bearden and Vernon Bickford. A left-hander, a right-hander. There's the pitch. And on the ground ball, Hegan goes to third base. The throw is from Stanky to Torgerson for the out, with Hegan taking the turn and holding up at third. Before he threw over to first base, Eddie Stanky stole a look at third base to be certain that Hegan wasn't too far around so that he could score on the throw to first. So Mitchell goes out, Stanky to Torgerson for the second out, and Bob Kennedy is up for the first time. He went into right field in place of Allie Clarke in the 8th inning. He's a long ball hitter. A right-hander. In the dirt. Nice stop by Macy. That saved a run. He stopped that with his chest protector, got down on both knees, blocked it. 1 ball, no strikes. The Indians have 2 men out in the 9th inning, and they have a 3-1 lead. Here's the pitch. Strike called. 1-1. That was a fast curveball. The pitching mound now is entirely covered by the shadow of the top of the grandstand. Potter looks at third, winds up. He throws, and there's a fly ball to short right center field. Coming in fast for it. It drops for a base hit, a Texas leaguer, and it's 4-1 Cleveland. Neither Holmes nor McCormick could get it. A Texas leaguer into short right center field by Bob Kennedy drives in the 4th Cleveland run of the afternoon. Hegan scoring, and that run is unearned. 4-1 the Indians lead as they are trying to wrap it up in the 9th. Kennedy on first base, 2 men out, and Lou Boudreau, the manager, is up. He has a double and a single, 2 out of 4. The pitch. There's a ground ball, a slow roller that goes to Elliott. Bob charges it, fires it over to first base, and Boudreau is out to retire the side. So in unearned runs, the 2 teams are even up. Each has 1. Cleveland leaves the first half of the 9th inning with 1 run, 1 hit, 1 Boston error, 1 of 3, 1 runner left, and a lead of 4-1 for the Cleveland Indians. The Braves now face their last scoring opportunity, or what they hope will be, with Phil Macy, Mike McCormick, and Eddie Stanky. Macy entered the game as a pinch hitter for Bill Salkeld in the 6th inning, you'll recall. But whereas yesterday he was able to sprint all the way home hat in hand with a winning run, today he was able to get only as far as second, and then Stanky grounded into a short to second to first double play. Cleveland has made 2 twin kills in this contest. Macy has an interesting characteristic. After every pitch, almost without exception, he will step out of the batter's box, rub some dirt into his hands, knock the dirt out of his spikes with his bat, and then look in the direction of the third base coach, Billy Southworth, to see whether or not any special instruction is upcoming. It will be Macy, Mike McCormick, Eddie Stanky, unless Billy Southworth has a pinch hitter or 2 in mind. Jim Russell, we understand, is following these baseball broadcasts from his hospital bed in Pittsburgh. He was one of the Braves who could not play because of injury and illness. The other, Jeff Heath, is in the Boston Braves dugout. And their teammates miss them just as the Cleveland Indians are sorry Don Black can't be with them. A fastball, ball 1. 1 ball, no strikes. Macy's a right-handed batter. The outfield plays him around to the left. Not too deep. Lemon toes the rubber. takes his usual windup and he fires one, and there is a high pop-up, a foul ball to the right of the plate, and Hegan takes it. He was just about 35 or 40 feet down the first base line when he caught it for the first out. One man out. And Mike McCormick goes up. Eddie Stanky is in the on-deck area. Mike has 2 hits. He and Torgerson have 2 each, and the other 3 hits belong to Dark, Elliott, and Salkeld. The hits in the game are 8-7 in favor of Cleveland. Lemon delivers, close and fast. Ball 1. Bob is pitching the best game he has pitched in about a month's time. 1 ball, no strikes. Here's the windup. A fastball for a called strike. That was just below the letters and right over the middle. 1-1. McCormick stands with a slightly closed stance, not too deep in the box, and fairly close to the plate. Lemon is pitching very deliberately. The outfield is set to the left a bit. The pitch, foul tip, and that one hit Bill Summers in the left knee. And he groaned a little, did a slight jig to try to shake off the shock. And it wasn't nearly as funny to him as it was to some of the fans, I can assure you. In the meantime, Jim Hegan and Bob Lemon are having a little chat about the pitching tactics with Mike McCormick up on a count of 1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 brave out in the 9th inning, and the score 4-1 in favor of the Cleveland Indians. It took the Indians 12 innings to dent the scoring ice in this World Series competition, but once they scored, they liked the habit, and they've scored 4 times as many runs as the Braves today. Lemon winds up. Here's the pitch. A high and wide one. 2-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Lemon just toes the rubber, waiting for his sign. Hegan is catching from a crouch. Here it comes. Foul ball. That was hit on the very butt end of the bat and sliced out beyond the dugout, down the first baseline. That's the Cleveland dugout, and it is extricated from the red, white, and blue bunting by the bat boy. 2 balls, 2 strikes. The Cleveland Indians are within 2 outs of their first victory in the series and an even footing as they go back home to the park in which they play half their games. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Lemon pitches, swing and a miss. He fires a fast sidearm pitch and strikes out Mike McCormick, Mike becoming the 5th Brave strikeout victim. And Eddie Stanky comes up. He's the last Brave with an opportunity to prolong it. 2 men out. Stanky has been at bat only once officially today. He came up in the 6th inning with runners on first and second and 1 out and hit into a Boudreau to Gordon to Robinson double play. The pitch, ball 1. If Stanky should get aboard, it is a certainty that there will be a pinch runner. 1 ball, no strikes. Eddie had a very serious fractured ankle in July and just recently returned. Here it comes. Ball 2, 2-0. Much of the strain is off Lemon because of the fact that Cleveland scored its 4th run in the 9th inning, which means that 2 base runners would have to reach before the tying run would walk to the plate. He winds up, pitches, strike called, 2-1. Eddie never bothered to remove his bat from his shoulder. He's a distracting influence on pitchers. You know, he holds the National League record for bases on balls in a single season. Foul ball. 2-2. And now Lemon is just 1 strike away from his baseball goal. He's one of several great pitchers who have made the switch from another position. 2 balls, 2 strikes the count. 2 men out in the 9th inning. Cleveland leading 4-1. Stanky the batter. The pitch. There's a drive that goes over the glove of Boudreau to left center field, and the ball is rolling all the way to the fence, and Eddie is gunning it to second base with a double. Stanky got to second. On a drive that went between left fielder Dale Mitchell and center fielder Larry Doby. And Billy Southworth is calling for a pinch runner. Ray Sanders is going to be a pinch hitter for Nels Potter. I don't see a pinch runner, although Southworth did make a motion in the direction of the dugout. So presumably Stanky is going to run for himself. Ray Sanders was declared eligible to replace Jim Russell. That's the Braves' first extra base hit. Stanky's double. Sanders, a left-hander, hits a ground ball right back to Lemon. Lemon runs over to first, flips the ball to Robinson, and is promptly swarmed by his mates as Cleveland wins the second World Series game by a score of 4-1 to draw up on equal terms with the Boston Braves. The final score, Cleveland 4 runs, 8 hits, 1 error. The Boston Braves 1 run, 8 hits, 3 errors. The winning pitcher, Bob Lemon. That's his 21st win of the year, his first in World Series competition. The losing pitcher, lefty Warren Spahn. And those who profess to be superstitious will be interested in the fact that this season, it's the 13th time he has been beaten. His first in World Series competition. And now, here to summarize and recapitulate the play and point out the high spots of this second World Series game is Mel Allen.
I think it was rather fitting that the ball game ended with Bob Lemon tossing out the last batter, because it was Bob Lemon all the way today. Bob Lemon, who got off to a rather shaky start, perhaps somewhat shaken by World Series jitters, being his first fall classic. We say perhaps, we don't know for sure. It may have been that his stuff wasn't working just the way he wanted it to. At any rate, he settled down after a couple of innings. The Braves got off to a 1-run lead in that first inning when Joe Gordon bobbled behind him after one was away on Dark's grounder. And then Earl Torgerson and Bob Elliott singled in succession, scoring Al Dark with the first run of the ball game and giving the Braves a wonderful opportunity to go way out in front, since it put runners also on first and second. But then came a play identical with one that the Indians attempted to execute on yesterday that failed by a whisker and resulted in the Braves' victory, and that is an attempted pickoff of a runner at second base. Yesterday, Macy was called safe at second when Feller attempted to pick him off. That was quite the talk throughout the evening and up until game time today. There were those who said the runner was out, those who said that he was safe. In any event, that runner scored, and the Braves won the ball game 1-0. Today, in the first inning, after one was in, Bob Lemon attempted the pickoff of Lou Boudreau, and it worked. They picked Torgerson off second base. Following that, Rickard struck out to end the inning, and if you'd like to speculate just a bit, had the pickoff play not occurred, Bill Salkeld, who opened up the last half of the second inning for the Braves, singled to start that inning. So if you care to speculate, it might have meant that the Braves would have had a big inning. But as it was, they got only 1 run. And then in the second inning, Bob Lemon saw 2 Braves get on when Salkeld singled and Stanky walked, but he settled down to get out of that inning. He had to work real hard. He found the first man getting on in the third inning, Al Dark, with a single. And then in the fourth inning, the first 2 men up for the Braves got on. Salkeld on a walk, Mike McCormick on a single. They were sacrificed to second and third by Stanky. But then it was that Bob Lemon bore down to get Warren Spahn on a bouncer back to the mound and Holmes on a fly ball to left. After that, Bob Lemon was in supreme control of the ball game, and in the only 2 instances in which he had a little bit of trouble, to the fore came that great double play combination of Joe Gordon, and Lou Boudreau to execute double plays in the 6th and 8th innings to get Bob Lemon out of subsequent jams. Meantime, the Indians finally got to Warren Spahn, the left-hander, who was attempting to emulate his pitching cohort, Johnny Singh, today. They got to him finally in the 4th inning when Lou Boudreau, the spark plug of the Indians, got the first extra base hit of the series, a double to right, scored on Joe Gordon's single to left, Gordon taking second on the throw to the plate, and then after Keltner had fouled out to Rickard in left, Larry Doby singled to right to score Gordon, put the Indians ahead 2-1. And then in the 5th inning, Dale Mitchell singled to left, was sacrificed to second by Clarke, and scored on Lou Boudreau's single to center. Again, Boudreau's name pops up, as it often will during the series. That was the end for Warren Spahn. Red Barrett came on and put out the fire, but the Indians were leading 3-1. Then in the 9th inning, Nels Potter was doing the pitching for the Boston Braves. Hegan reached base on an error, moved to second and third on infield outs, and scored on Bob Kennedy's looping single to center field. That's the way the runs were scored, and the totals. The Cleveland Indians 4 runs, 8 hits, 1 error. The Boston Braves 1 run, 8 hits, 3 errors. And so the World Series is all tied up after the first 2 games, 1 victory each. The scene will shift now to Municipal Stadium, huge Municipal Stadium in Cleveland, and I know the fans out in that Ohio metropolis are anxiously awaiting the arrival of the 2 teams to see their first World Series since 1920. And fans, tomorrow's another day, and it'll probably be Gene Bearden, the left-hander who pitched the Indians to the pennant in the playoff game against the Red Sox with but 1 day's rest, going against Vern Bickford, the rookie right-hander of the Boston Braves. And so tomorrow's another day, and Gillette's Cavalcade of Sports will be back on the air promptly at 12:45 Eastern Standard Time to report the 3rd game of the 1948 World Series for you, play-by-play from Municipal Stadium, Cleveland. And just one more note, if memory serves me correctly, that is the first World Series game that a Boston Braves team has ever lost. At any rate, until tomorrow at 12:45, until then, smooth sailing, smooth shaving, and good afternoon from your host, the Gillette Safety Razor Company, Jim Britt, and yours truly, Mel Allen.